The Wandering Soul Planet. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101 Recruiting Zissou. Zissou asked again, "What are the gifts?" Gao Chu said, "There are many, and they are all very precious gifts. You will know later." Not long after, the ant transport team that had traveled a long distance to carry the gifts finally arrived at its destination. At this time, Zissou had already flown down from the tree and landed on the grass. Gao Chu introduced a leading ant to Zissou and said, "This is our King Doi Wang's confidant, the captain of the transport team responsible for the transportation of valuables and the chief inspector of this mission, Baojipi." Then, it introduced Zissou's identity to Baojipi and said, "This is the world-famous MR flying god." The brown ant Baojipi immediately waved its antennae respectfully and said, "I have heard of you for a long time. Your name is well known and we young people all admire and respect you." Zissou said, "No need to be polite. I would like to ask, which one is Song Jiang?" Baojipi waved his antennae in confusion and said, "Send ginger? We don't have it. We didn't send fresh ginger." Gao Chu, "What's going on?" Gao Chu said, "MR Flying God said you were going to send guns, right?" When Baojipi heard this, he waved his antennae and said, "We do have guns. Come on, bring our country's most precious weapon here." Soon, two worker ants came over with something wrapped in green grass leaves and put it on the ground. "Open it up," Baojipi said, waving his antennae. "MR Flying Godman, this is the 7-probe snake coil gun given to you by our country's big eater because he admires your wisdom and bravery." When he opened it, he found that it was 3 bamboo toothpicks, used by humans to pick teeth. Zissou really didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Is this also the 7-probe snake coil gun used by Zhao Ziling in the 3 kingdoms? Isn't it too funny? Zissou knew the strength of the ants, and now he was too lazy to bother with them, so he said, "What other gifts do you have? Bring them all over and let me see." "Okay," Baojipi waved his antennae and said, "Bring up all the ones behind." When Zissou saw so many gifts, he quickly called out to the spiders on the 3 trees, "Spider sisters, come down and take a look. Pick anything you like." As soon as he called out, more than 100 large spiders of various colors came down from the 3 trees. Immediately, the ants were scared, because these were all poisonous spiders. If they pierced you, you would die. Not long after, there was a long line of large and small things on the ground. When they opened them, they saw everything. There were all kinds of gems, red, green, blue, etc., emeralds, diamonds, amber, pearls of all sizes, honey, royal jelly crystals, precious herbs such as ginseng, Polygonum multiflorum, Cordyceps sinensis, and snow lotus, as well as 20 to 30 young, strong, and bandit-like male spiders, and finally a beautiful female mantis. When Zissou saw the female mantis, he was furious, and his excitement just disappeared immediately. He thought, "Isn't this deliberately installing a time bomb next to me, wanting me to die early?" When Baojipi saw that Zissou's face was not right, he waved his tentacles and explained, "This is the good intention of our big stomach king. We want to choose someone to warm your bed for you. She can be your concubine or maid. You don't think it's too little, do you? We took great pains to catch her. It's really hard to find a beauty like this." When Zissou heard this, he was almost angry and cried. He thought, Baojipi, you are really good. What you are holding back is not a good fart. You dog day has no good intentions at all. It seems that this so-called recruitment is also full of traps. They, the big stomach king and the cabinet ministers, are all insidious and cunning with ulterior motives. The enemy's heart of destroying us is not dead. I want to see what tricks they will play." At this time, a large female spider Black Widow approached Zissou and whispered to her, "They sent these dozens of male spiders to seduce and tempt our sisters. You see, many sisters are beginning to be tempted and want to find lovers. They want to undermine our fighting spirit and break through our fortress from the inside. This is a vicious trick," Zissou said. "How about I kill all these male spiders later?" Black Widow said, "No, the sisters will hate you. What should I do?" Suddenly, Zissou thought of a stealing plan and whispered a few words in the ear of Black Widow. Then, it said to Gao Chu and Baojipi, "Everyone has come here for a long journey. It's very tiring. Let's take a rest and have a meal together. Even if there is a big thing, we can talk about it after dinner. However, I didn't know you would come from afar, so I didn't prepare in advance. I will go out and hunt some prey. Let's drink tea and chat first, and wait for me. I'll be back soon." After saying that, it turned around and flew into the jungle. At the same time, the Black Widow also started to move. She walked over to the sisters and said, "Just now, Brother Mantis told me that, except for the dozens of male spiders and the female mantis, you can pick and choose from all the gifts and take whatever you like." "How is it?" a young and beautiful female spider said. "Not so good. I just want to find a husband of my dreams," the Black Widow said patiently. "My sister, do you know what you can't eat hot tofu in a hurry means? Look, there are more than 100 of us sisters, and there are only 20 or 30 of those guys, a 5-to-1 ratio. If we sisters rush over, won't their tails be all up in the sky? Won't they pick on us sisters, beat us up, scold us, and humiliate us at will? Anyway, if you don't do it, someone else will take your place. In this way, will we sisters have a good life? Think about it carefully, am I right?" Chapter 102 Sisters Fighting for a Husband. The beautiful female spider thought for a moment and said, "It seems to be true. Then what should I do?" "What should we do?" said the Black Widow. "Just ignore them and pretend not to see them. By then, they will be more anxious than we are. In the end, they will come to us on their own initiative, and their attitude will be friendly and honest. This is the magic trick that Brother Mantis taught me." Soon, everyone thought this method was good and agreed to adopt it. Some said, "Brother Mantis is really smart. It's amazing that he could come up with such a trick." Some said, "That's right. Don't you think that Brother Mantis might be a master in love?" A female spider with some knowledge said, "This trick might be called playing hard to get." The beautiful female spider said, "Who cares if it's a trick or not? As long as it's honest and obedient and comes to beg me, I'll be satisfied." A female spider with a crooked appearance said jealously, "You, a slutty vixen, only think about men all day long, and worry about being cheated by young men and having nothing to wear." The beautiful female spider said, "You, a poisonous spider that no one wants, are so stupid that you'd wet your pants." In this way, they started to exchange sharp words. Before the drama of competing for the lover began, the two sisters started to fight among themselves. Soon, similar arguments spread among the spiders like an infectious disease. For example, female spider A said to B, "You little goblin with shifty eyes, you also want to seduce a handsome guy." Female spider B said, "You are meddling in other people's business." Female spider A said, "Do you know how fierce the competition is now? Can people be attracted by a little guy like you?" Female spider B said, "Whether I can win the competition or not is not up to you. We'll see." Female spider C said to D, "Why do you stick your butt up so high? Are you afraid that the handsome guy doesn't know that your butt is big?" Female spider D said, "You idiot, are you jealous of my good figure? If you have the ability, why don't you get a big and round butt?" Female spider C said, "Sister, I don't need to rely on my appearance to win, I need to rely on my wits to win." Female spider D said, "Tisk, wits? I think it's more like a conspiracy. You only know how to play tricks and do all kinds of shameful things such as cheating and stealing." The female spider C said angrily, "You are the one who is disgraceful. You little slut, don't you dare to slander me." The female spider E said to F, "Hey, sister, do you think my big watery eyes are charming? Can I hook up with a handsome guy?" The female spider F said, "I am really charming enough to kill people. But after you hook him up, I will snatch him away. We are good girlfriends wearing the same skirt. This is called sharing happiness." The female spider E said, "You are so wicked. How can you do this? Aren't you occupying the magpie's nest?" The female spider F said, "You can't blame me for this. If you want to blame someone, blame the fact that there are too few good men nowadays. Who doesn't want a good man?" The female spider E said, "But I think these guys are not good people. They are all bandit-like. Is it worth it for me to hook up with them like this?" The female spider F said, "Hey, don't you see what the market is like now? There are more than 5 times as many sisters as them. It's good that they don't pick on you. You just have to make do with it. Just think of the toad as the frog prince, isn't that enough?" Female spider E said, "Oh, our sisters have such a hard life. Now the swans are trying to snatch the toads. What kind of world is this? We can't live like this." Female spider G said to H, "What do you think is wrong with them? Did they ask us to pretend that we don't care? Now they are arguing so loudly, As if they are afraid that those guys don't know how much we care about them. Don't you think they are stupid? Female Spider H said. Oh. Seeing their disgusting appearance, I decided to withdraw from the competition. I want to become a nun. Are you willing to accompany me? Female Spider G said. You go and become a nun. I won't go with you. I'm going to snatch a man and give birth to a lot of babies. That would be so much fun. Female Spider G said. You stubborn, stupid woman. Do you think it's fun to have children? You will have endless worries and endless things to do in your life, and you will not be rewarded when you are old. When you are old, you will be despised by others and worse than pigs and dogs. When Zisu came back from hunting, she found that these spider sisters were quarreling in a mess, and almost more than half of the female spiders joined the quarrel. Zisu thought, it's over, I'm afraid my magic trick will not work. This group of women is really hard to lead. After winning a few battles, they don't know their surnames anymore. No, they are getting coquettish and want to find a man. Why are spider spirits and fox spirits the same kind of stuff? They can't walk when they see a man. How can this be? How can I lead them to fight in the future? Oh. It seems that my backyard is on fire. If I don't put out this fire and solve the problem fundamentally, I can't take care of the war in the front. For now, we must first stabilize the rear, and we can only adopt evasive tactics against any moves of the enemy, the delay tactic, a delaying tactic. Thinking of this, the mantis Shisu first gave the prey it had caught to the guests, so that everyone could enjoy it. Then, it rammed to put out the fire. Shisu walked to the spider group and advised them kindly, Sisters, do we have to quarrel over a few stinky men? In fact, I just went to the forest to help you find men, and I found that there are many good guys there. They are all willing to come to our place. I will invite them to come over some other day to see the beauties here. I promise that you can choose whatever you want, and everyone can pick a good husband. Wow. Really, that's great. The spider sisters were all excited and no longer quarreled over those stinky boys. Chapter 103, Delaying Tactics. After pacifying the spider sisters, the purple mantis came to the guest. If it wanted to entertain the guests, it had to sit with them. It asked Gao Chu to eat this, and then asked Bao Jifu to eat that, which made the two dung balls very excited. After eating and drinking, it was time to talk about business. Gao Chu first said that he came here to recruit Purple Mantis, and on behalf of the Big Eater and the cabinet ministers, he formally invited Purple Mantis to serve as an official in the country of Wallen. What official? He said that he would first try to be the deputy commander of the Air Force and the member of the National Defense Committee. If he performed well, he could continue to be promoted. It seems that it is not bad. Zisu pretended to be modest and said, I heard that you already have a deputy commander of the Air Force, called the guy with no hair. If I go, won't you have another deputy commander? That would make the guy with no hair feel uneasy. How bad? Gao Chu hurriedly laughed and said, Please forgive me, Master Fishin Shengsha. The number of deputy commander positions is not decided by the guy with no hair. This is a decision made by the Prime Minister of the Cabinet, and it was also agreed by the Big Stomach King. No one can change it, Zisu said again, but I always feel that it is a bit redundant to arrange two people for one position, which will lead to overstaffing. Anyway, one more and one less won't make much difference. Otherwise, I won't go. Otherwise, the guy with no hair will feel uneasy and think that I am here to steal his job. Gao Chu immediately said seriously, how can that be? If you do this, I will be too embarrassed to go back. Bijepai also waved his tentacles and echoed, yes. You are making it very difficult for us. I can't report to the Big Stomach King when I go back, you see, I still have a lot of things to deal with at home. How about I take office after I deal with these things? Zisu thought for a while. Is that so? How long do you plan to take to deal with your affairs? Gao Chu said. About 3 months. 3 months? Too long. No. We will give you a month at most to deal with your affairs. 1 month is too little. That's absolutely not possible. How about 2 months? 2 months, at most 1.5 months. Okay then. 1.5, that's 1.5 months. Deal, Zisu said. Very good. I will report this to the Big Stomach King and the Prime Minister of the Cabinet. Gao Chu nodded with a sense of relief. Since the agreement has been reached, when are we leaving? Bijepai asked, waving his tentacles. We'll leave right away, Gao Chu said. Then he stood up and said to Zisu politely, thank you for your hospitality. We have to go back and report, so we won't bother you anymore. Compared to the gifts you gave me, My hospitality is nothing. Well, after you go back, please convey my gratitude to the Big Stomach King and the crying Prime Minister. I will finish my family affairs as soon as possible and go to the appointment to take office. Please rest assured, Zissou said. We will definitely convey it, please rest assured. Goodbye, Gao Chu and the other two said in unison, and soon they led the ant transport team back home. Looking at their backs as they went back, Zissou thought, only ghosts would go to the appointment to take office. I won't be that stupid Song Jiang who squeals like a pig. You want to plot against me? No way. Now, I don't have time to pay attention to you, the little Antwolin kingdom. After I stabilize my rear area, I'll see how I deal with you, a group of insidious and cunning bastards. After the gift-giving team left, Zissou walked up to the 20 or 30 male spiders and sternly warned them not to provoke the female spiders, or else he would kill them all without mercy. Zissou's words frightened the male spiders and made them silent. From then on, the male spiders who were frightened by Zissou kept their distance from the female spiders, not to mention provoking them, and even dared not to make a sound. However, Zissou still had to solve the personal problems of the spider sisters. The day after the gift-giving team left, Zissou went to the forest for the spider sisters. He searched for male spiders everywhere, visited many portals, and finally contacted more than 100 male spiders, inviting them to the free party blind date event at Sankashu in the evening of the day after tomorrow. When Zissou told the spider sisters the good news, there was a burst of cheers and applause, and everyone was satisfied and happy. On the evening of the blind date, the female spiders dressed up carefully and stayed in their boudoirs, spider webs, anxiously, waiting for their lovers to come. At this time, a confident male spider raised his front feet and carefully played with a spider web woven by a female spider, plucking the web silk rhythmically like playing the strings of a guitar, which meant, "Beauty, what are you doing? Can I come to your web? I'm looking at my mobile phone. If you want to surf the internet, go online. No one is stopping you," the female spider said. "What is a mobile phone? Why haven't I heard of it?" the male spider asked after playing with the web silk again. "If you don't surf the internet, how can you know? Mobile phone is when I look at my palm to see if you have the chance to become my husband. You, a modern illiterate, don't even understand this simple truth. It seems that your chance of becoming my husband is slim," said the female spider. "I, a spider, only have feet, where do I get hands?" the male spider asked puzzledly. "I say you are a modern illiterate, and you still don't accept it? I have the final say over my hands and feet. I say my front feet are hands, and you have any objection? This is called preemptive registration, do you understand? The latest regulations of modern trademark law stipulate that whoever registers first owns the copyright. Now I say my feet are hands, and you dare to disagree? If you disagree, I will sue you and make you pay for it," the female spider said confidently. Chapter 104 Spider's Proposal. "I didn't expect you to be a female scholar. You have a lot of knowledge," the male spider said with envy. "Of course. I am not only beautiful, but also a super academic master. If you can find me to be your wife, you can be happy," the female spider said proudly. "It seems that I'd better go somewhere else. I feel ashamed in front of you," the male spider said dejectedly. "Stop, don't go," the female spider said. "What are your abilities? Show them to me, and I'll know." "I can't show you this," said the male spider. "You really have nothing to show for it? Are you a loser? I saw you playing the web with a very rhythmic feeling just now. If you play the piano, you must be a pianist." "You are kidding. Forget about pianists. I have never even seen a piano. I am just a small cotton-picking businessman in the countryside, so you are a cotton-picking man. No wonder I always felt that you played a little out of tune just now," the female spider said. "That's a pity. This interviewer declares that you are eliminated. Blind dates for spiders are actually equivalent to marriage proposals. Unlike humans, they do it in one step. As long as the proposal is successful, they can immediately enter the bridal chamber and complete the important matter of having children." At this time, a male spider and a female spider wanted to sing a love song duet. They tapped the web with their front paws and said very gentlemanly, "Beautiful girl, how about we sing a love song duet?" The female spider said. "Okay. You sing first, and I'll sing along." "Okay," said the male spider, and then he sang, "Ah, beautiful spider sister, full of intelligence, coming to date you makes me intoxicated, you make me unable to sleep, you become my heart and lungs, you become my treasure from now on, and we will become a pair from now on. We laugh together and cry together. Even if you eat me, it won't be a crime. You let me know what is the most precious thing in this world. Next, of course, the female spider sang, "Ah, handsome boy, don't feel inferior or too tired. Coming to date you, you have intoxicated me, and I can't sleep tonight. It seems that we are quite a match. We have become your heart and you have become your lungs, and we will become a pair from now on. We laugh together and cry together, and I am willing to give birth to spiders for you. You let me know the glory and wealth in the world." The male spider continued to sing, "I feel that spider sister is like a rose, like a beautiful flower among green leaves. My heart also laughs and cries with you. You make me unable to calm down and fall asleep. I hope that we can be a good match and you will become my baby. No matter how hard life is, I will not be tired. My heart is intoxicated. You and I are a perfect match. It's so nice for spider to meet. Pretty sister." The female singer spider then sings, "I think brother is a kind of affectionate and righteous person. Living with you, no matter how hard it is, I will not suffer. My heart will laugh and not cry. Please don't work too hard and be too tired. We will give birth to our baby. Love is so precious and it's such a sweet taste. My heart is intoxicated. You and I are a perfect match. It's really right for spider to meet. Pretty boy." Next is a joint singing. The male singer spider sings first, "Ah, beautiful spider sister, full of wisdom, comes on a date with you. There is no mistake in one song, one post, one content, one book, one bar, one look. You make me intoxicated, you make me unable to sleep, you become my heart and lungs, you become my baby from now on. From now on, we are a good pair, we laugh together and cry together, even if you eat me, it is not a crime. I feel that spider sister is like a rose, like a beautiful flower among green leaves. My heart also laughs and cries with you. You make me unable to calm down and sleep. I hope we can be a good pair. You become my baby. No matter how hard life is, I am not tired. My heart is intoxicated. You and I are a good match. Spiders meet and it tastes good. Pretty girl." The female singer, the spider continues to sing, "Ah, handsome boy, don't feel inferior and don't be too tired. I came to date you. You have made me intoxicated. I can't fall asleep tonight. It seems that we are quite a good match. We have become each other's heart and you have become my lungs. From now on, we have become a pair. We laugh together and cry together. Let me know the glory and wealth in the world. I think your brother is a man of affection and righteousness. No matter how hard it is to live with you, I will not suffer. My heart will laugh and not cry. Don't work too hard and be too tired. We will give birth to our baby. Love is so precious and it is so sweet. My heart is intoxicated. You and I are a good match." The spiders meet and it's really right for the handsome guy. As soon as the song ended, the spider couple hugged each other excitedly and kissed each other. Then they walked into the bridal chamber hand in hand and began to make spiders all night long. At this time, a male spider came to the door of a female spider's boudoir. Spider web tapped the web with his hands, front feet, and said politely, "Dear lady, can I dance for you?" The female spider asked, "What dance can you dance?" The male jumping spider said, "I can dance a lot of dances. There are tap dance, waltz, tango, disco, samba, diva, rumba, hobbit and kumba." Chapter 105, Successful Courtship. The female spider said, "Then dance what you are best at." "Okay, then." The male jumping spider began to jump easily and freely. His dancing posture was familiar and his skills were superior. He kept dancing his front legs, changing his posture, doing various graceful movements, shaking his head, swaying his body, and sometimes rhythmically stepping on the ground or knocking on the wall with his feet to keep the beat, dancing gracefully. He hoped to use this elegant dance to express his pursuit of the female spider. Seeing this, the female spider clapped her hands pa-pa-pa. After the male jumping spider danced for her several times, she agreed to let him become her husband. Soon, the spiders hand in hand walked into the bridal chamber and began bed sports. At the same time, another proposal was launched in the boudoir of another female spider. But this suitor was a male cunning spider, and his performance tonight was to propose with gifts. His gift was a small grasshopper, which was the female spider's favorite crispy and fragrant delicacy. The fawning male spider came to the female spider's bed with a gift on his back, nodded and said, "Ah, hello, the most noble and beautiful princess." The female spider smiled and said, "Oh, you are so sweet-mouthed, aren't you? You know I'm not a princess, But you still call me a princess to please me, right? The male spider said. No, I think you are actually 10,000 times more noble and beautiful than a real princess, the female spider said. Boy, you are trying to fool me by bewitching me like this. You have bad intentions. I know there is no free lunch in the world. Tell me, what do you want from me? The male spider hesitated and said, I want to propose to you. I don't know if you agree, the female spider said. Well, that depends on how you perform. The male spider quickly untied the spider silk thread that tied the gift, took off the gift on his back, the little grasshopper, and said fawningly, I know this. Look at the gift I brought you. Do you like it? The female spider said with satisfaction. Not bad, you are filial. From now on, I will call you Sandeezy. The male cunning spider bowed and said, you can call me a cat, a dog as long as you like. The female spider said, hey, Sandeezy, come here quickly to rub your shoulders and back for me. Oh no, for the old Buddha, and let the old Buddha know how Sandeezy is filial to the old Buddha. The male cunning spider immediately ran behind the female spider and rubbed her shoulders and back. The female spider closed her eyes and rested, enjoying the diligent service of the male cunning spider. After a while, the male cunning spider asked cautiously, Master Buddha, how do you feel now? The female spider said, very comfortable, very skilled. You are not a duck, are you? The male cunning spider said, no way. Ducks don't have such good skills as me. The female spider said, that's the duck's master. Do you think I'm a little fat and my belly is too big? Then you can help me rub my big belly. The male cunning spider said excitedly, hey, I promise to help you rub it smaller. So, he used all his strength to rub the female spider's big belly up and down and left and right. After rubbing, the female spider's belly did not shrink, but his own reaction began. The female spider also noticed the changes in the male spider's body, and asked, Sandeezy, you reacted so quickly. Hey, you are amazing. Other people only have one place that reacts, how come you seem to have two places that react? How come there is one more place? Are you a monster? The male cunning spider hurriedly explained, this is what makes spiders like us Arana-e different from others, and it's also what makes us cunning spiders. Other spiders only have one functional place, but we spiders have two, one of which is for backup. Otherwise, why would we be called cunning spiders? In this way, we spiders can do our work more easily and freely, the female spider said. Oh, Sandeezy, are you a stud? So strong. That means you are really a duck. I guess those who are ducks are probably you male cunning spiders, the male cunning spider said embarrassedly. There is no mistake in the poem, the content is in the book, take a look. Old Buddha, although I, Sandeezy, have never been a gigolo, I have to say that you are right. Nowadays, almost all those who are gigolos are brothers in my cunning spider community. The female spider was a little tempted and said, how about you come and make some trouble now? The male cunning spider smiled happily and said, Old Buddha, this is not called making trouble, it should be called making trouble. I will mess around first, and then you will lay eggs and raise the next generation. That's why it's called making trouble, the female spider insisted. No. Because it's me who lays the eggs, not you. I am responsible for laying eggs, and you are only responsible for making trouble, the male cunning spider suddenly realized. So that's how you understand it, that's right. Okay, can I come in and make trouble now? The female spider blushed and whispered, well, you can. But you have to be careful when you make trouble. Otherwise, I will eat you. In this way, the male cunning spider finally succeeded in picking up girls, and risked his life to coax his princess Old Buddha into bed. It also planted its own seeds in the stomach of Old Buddha, but none of Old Buddha's descendants became emperors, and all became spiders. In fact, this is a very threatening technical job for male spiders. If the female spider is unhappy or too happy, it is very likely to be eaten by her. Soon the result came out. The spider blind date conference organized by Zisu was very successful. 85% of the male spiders proposed successfully, and both entered the bridal chamber. Everyone was happy. However, nothing is perfect. So, what to do with the 20 or 30 male spiders and a female mantis that were sent? Zisu was really troubled by this. If he put them all back, it would arouse the suspicion of the enemy. He couldn't bear to kill them all, so he decided to lock them up. Chapter 106 Long Distance Raid. Thinking of this, it handed the task of guarding to the male spiders who came to propose marriage this time. In addition, they also need to be trained as special forces, and plan to use them as a surprise force in a month. As for the beautiful female mantis, it was too lazy to take a second look, and it didn't need a maid. It only had Susan in its heart. When thinking of Susan, a series of figures appeared in the mantis's mind: dancing butterflies, insidious and cunning beauty snakes, burly and majestic eagles, etc. It couldn't help but feel excited. Where is it now? Why do I miss him more and more now? I should have cherished our relationship more. I regretted that I had a temper and quarrel with it. How much I miss those sweet days with Susan. What should I do now? Oh, I'd better solve the problem in front of me first. So it devoted itself to the work of training male spiders. In fact, most female spiders are defensive players, and usually stay in their own homes, in spider webs, to hunt prey. Male spiders are mostly offensive players, and they can deliver a fatal blow to their prey while running. However, they also weave spider webs to catch prey like female spiders. Of course, what the female spiders do here, Shih Tzu does not need male spiders to do. Because the female spiders have already done it for Shih Tzu, and they have done it very well. Now Shih Tzu mainly trains male spiders to kill enemies during movement and teaches them how to avoid the attacks of their opponents. Of course, it also includes physical fitness and special forces training such as long-distance running, leaping, forced marches and night attacks. In addition to heavy training every day, female spiders have to hunt for food by themselves, plus sleep, and they have almost no free time. Moreover, all of this must be completed within a month. It can be said that time is tight and the task is heavy. Shih Tzu himself is almost immersed in the training ground all day, and has no time to take care of other things. Why is it so urgent? Because it is Mid-Autumn Festival now, and it will enter winter in less than a month and a half, and it is difficult for ordinary mantises to survive the cold winter. So Shih Tzu mantis decided to complete her last wish before she died. A month passed quickly, and the results of the training made Shih Tzu quite satisfied. Male spiders are natural killers who can sneak attack enemies and prey. As long as the enemy and prey are 2 or 3 body lengths in front of it, it can pierce the enemy and prey's vital parts, the back of the neck or the head, with poison needles or fangs at lightning speed, giving them a fatal blow. Their defensive ability has also been greatly improved under Shih Tzu's careful training. Generally, they can deal with 2 large locusts, and the excellent ones can now deal with more than 3 large locusts. Dealing with those ordinary ants is even easier. As long as those ants dare to get close, no matter how strong they will be knocked down by these male spiders. However, if there are a lot of ants, it's hard to say. This will be the last major military action that Shih Tzu mantis will complete in his lifetime, weakening and controlling the Wallen Kingdom. In the past, it adopted a defensive strategy, but now it has to adopt an offensive strategy. It organized a night attack commando composed of 108 male spiders and appointed itself as the commander-in-chief. It will take advantage of the fact that the ants are desperately collecting food for the winter and the autumn and have reached an agreement with it to recruit them, so that they are not on guard. It will raid the enemy's Locust Air Force fighter base at night and seize the opportunity to capture important members of the enemy's cabinet, such as the Prime Minister, the Big Eater and the Commander-in-Chief, in order to achieve the goal of disintegrating and controlling the enemy. Finally, before it dies, it will also find a way to hand over the Wallen Kingdom to the Red Ant Army. So, this big operation also includes some specific tasks. In this golden autumn season, the red leaves all over the mountains and fields appear particularly delicate and beautiful at dusk, as red as human blood. At this moment, the Perilla mantis, which is equivalent to a human in his 70s or 80s, is reviewing the spider commandos it has trained for more than a month, just like an ancient general before the troops go out to war. It ordered, count, then a series of counting sounds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100, 7, 108 came from the team. No mistakes in one poem, one post, one content, 1, 1, 6, 9, one book, one bar, one look. Report to the Commander-in-Chief, the captain of the Spider Commando, Wolf Spider Gunner King, said, Night Assault Commando, a total of 108, and the actual number is 108. Please give instructions. Shih Tzu moistened his hoarse voice and said, Dear warriors, you are going to complete an important task that will be recorded in history forever. Please remember the mission you are shouldering. I and the elders, fellow villagers, brothers and sisters of the spider community will be proud of you. Let's go, warriors. Then, as the night was about to fall, the Night Assault Commando, led by the captain, Wolf Spider Gunner King, quickly advanced towards Kyoto, the metropolis of the Wallen Kingdom. The old Shizo mantis was carried by two young and strong male spiders. Now it can't even walk, let alone fly, and it is too old to be worthy of the title of flying god. According to common sense, this long-distance raid should be carried out by sleeping during the day and marching at night. However, since the night attack commandos were required to reach the destination within 7 days, they were required to sleep only 6 hours in the first 5 days and travel day and night for the rest of the time. The last 2 days were carried out normally in the manner of sleeping during the day and marching at night. After a hard and rapid march, the night attack commandos finally arrived at the designated location half a day ahead of schedule at noon on the same day. The 7-day-long journey exhausted everyone. The male spiders only had 3 full meals on the way, and they traveled on an empty stomach most of the time. At this moment, everyone was resting in the grass deep in a dense forest outside the Kyoto of the Wallen Kingdom. Shizo told everyone to hunt and eat quickly, and then adjust their rest and take the time to sleep, and wait until midnight today to launch the attack. Just as everyone was about to set off to hunt, suddenly, the scouts came to report, a team of enemy food transport teams was found coming this way. Chapter 107 Pre-War Deployment. Wow! They really came to deliver food when they wanted to eat. The enemy army was really thoughtful for us. It seems that it is better to come at the right time than to come early. Since there is a piece of fat meat in front of our mouths, it would be a waste if we don't eat it. In addition, we can catch some tongues to ask about the situation in Kyoto City. Thinking of this, Shizo asked everyone to hide in the dense trees and grass immediately. Not long after, a large group of ants came over with food prey that was dozens of times larger than themselves, various insects, such as grasshoppers, locusts, cicadas and dragonflies. Suddenly, voices such as "Don't move and raise your hands" rang out from all sides, and the ambushing male spiders surrounded them from all directions. These ant transport teams became prisoners, and the food prey became trophies, the spiders' dinner. Shizo ordered the spiders to spit out spider silk as ropes to tie up all the ants, so that they would not run back to report the news. However, the male spiders were hungry after the long journey, and the spoils were not enough to fill their stomachs. They had no choice but to go back to the forest to hunt. However, Zissa still left a few people to guard the captives and strengthen the vigilance. At the same time, it carefully interrogated several captives. As expected, there was no martial law in the city now, and everyone was busy preparing food for the winter. The guards at the city gates and government offices were relatively lax. However, the guards at the palace, the cabinet prime minister's office, and the military agencies were still as strict as usual. After understanding these situations, Zissou and others gave them tasks after they came back from hunting. Commando leader Wolf Spider Gunner King led 40 commandos to attack the palace and must capture the Big Stomach King alive. Deputy Commando led 30 members to attack the Prime Minister's office of the cabinet and must capture the Prime Minister alive. Another 20 commandos were sent to attack the enemy's army headquarters and capture or kill the enemy commander-in-chief alive. 10 more commandos were sent to attack the enemy's Locust Air Force fighter base. Zissou only left 8 commandos to protect his own safety, because he would not live long anyway. In fact, the enemy's Locust Air Force fighter was about to die, because they were all locusts and could not survive the winter. It was really a bit redundant to send people to kill these dying guys now, but Zissou's elimination of them had its political significance, which was to psychologically destroy the enemy. You see, I have killed all your spiritual pillars, the Locust Air Force fighter. This will make it easier for the Red Ants to better control and rule the enemy country, the Wallen Kingdom, in the future. Its political significance is far greater than its military significance. After arranging the tasks, everyone went to sleep and rest. Why did Zissou arrange the tasks in advance instead of waiting until everyone woke up in the middle of the night? Because it was too old and in poor health, it wanted to sleep at night. It was afraid that it would not wake up at night or would be confused after waking up. Time passed quickly, and in a blink of an eye, it came to midnight. At this time, Zissou also woke up, and his mind was still relatively clear. It repeated what it said in the afternoon again, requiring them to be fast, accurate, and ruthless. If they could not catch them alive, they should kill them immediately. After completing the task, they should retreat quickly and meet here. If there were too many enemies and there was no chance to complete the task, they should retreat in time. Everyone set out immediately, divided into 4 groups, and rushed to the destination. The way to destroy the enemy's Locust Air Force fighter was the smoothest. The enemy almost did not set up checkpoints to guard them. Perhaps the enemy knew that these veterans were already a group of waste and were not worthy of being sent to guard. The 10 commandos easily eliminated 60 old and weak Locust Air Force fighters that were still sleeping soundly. After completing the mission, they should have gone back to report, but the commando leader felt that the mission was too simple and not satisfying, so he decided to support other commandos, and his idea was unanimously agreed by everyone. The Night Attack Commando, led by the captain, Gunner King, was ready to capture the King's Big Eater in the Palace of the Blue Kingdom, but encountered insurmountable difficulties. It turned out that the Blue Kingdom had hundreds of millions of ants, and its capital, Kyoto, had at least 20 million ants. The King's Guards, that is, the Royal Guards, of the palace had more than 100,000, and the city defense troops in Kyoto had about 500,000. Even the Prime Minister's office was protected by 20,000 ants. When the commandos took great pains to avoid many guards and sentries and arrived outside the palace wall, they realized the difficulty of the mission. No mistakes, one post, one content, one book, one forum, 1619, one book, one forum, one look. The palace of the King of Wolin is made up of many caves, and inside the caves, there are caves connected to each other, crisscrossing and winding. It is very complicated. If you are not a senior executive living here, it is impossible not to get lost. In addition, there are 50,000 or 60,000 ants coming in and out of it. It is impossible to go in quietly to capture the Big Stomach King and then return. What's more, it is the second half of the night, and many cave doors are closed. If you want to open the cave door, there will be noise, which will easily alarm the enemy and expose the target, thus attracting thousands of enemy troops to attack. In addition, even in the middle of the night, the palace still has sentries and patrols, and the guards are very strict. It seems that the plan to sneak attack the palace and capture the Big Stomach King alive is difficult to complete. In the end, the captain, the Gunner King, had to give up the original plan and join forces with a deputy captain to attack the Prime Minister's office and capture the Prime Minister alive. Facts have proved that his temporary decision is correct. Not long after the meeting between the captain and the deputy captain, everyone decided to follow the command of the Gunner King and sneak attack the Prime Minister's office together. Although the Prime Minister's office is protected by 20,000 soldiers, the Prime Minister sent 18,000 soldiers to help carry food during the day, and another 1,000 soldiers were responsible for protection during the day. So at night, there were 19,000 soldiers sleeping, and only about 1,000 soldiers were on guard and patrol. It's incredible. Is there an ambush like a trap here? Could it be that the Prime Minister deliberately designed it to lure them into the trap? Chapter 108, Capturing the Prime Minister. Unexpectedly, this Prime Minister's residence is actually located on a small hill. To humans, it is actually a small mound of earth, like a small castle, which is exposed to wind on all sides. That is, wind from all directions can blow here. I really don't know what Kudapai was thinking, and he actually chose such a shabby place as his Prime Minister's residence. Is it because this place is high in terrain, and a loud fart can be heard from all directions? No wonder Kudapai was able to climb to the high position of Prime Minister. It turns out that he got there by farting, and maybe he even farted while crying. In fact, Prime Minister Kudapai is more proficient in economic management, but knows almost nothing about military operations and management. In addition, he has a high degree of trust in the city defense forces of hundreds of thousands, so his Prime Minister's residence is almost undefended. But why is the palace so heavily guarded? That is because the king is afraid that an ambitious person with ulterior motives will usurp the throne, so he does this to prevent his own people from rebelling. In short, the city defense is to prevent foreign invasion, and the palace defense is to prevent internal people from usurping power and seizing the throne. Kudafu is not afraid of someone inside taking away his position as Prime Minister, because he is appointed by the king, and his term is only 1 year. After the term expires, he will be appointed by the king again. He can be re-elected, but not more than 3 terms. Kudafu is relatively diligent and capable as Prime Minister. This is his 3rd time as Prime Minister and his last re-election. Next spring, he will no longer be eligible to be Prime Minister. Therefore, he never expected that anyone would take advantage of him. At this moment, in the dead of night, the Prime Minister's mansion is brightly lit. It turns out that they tied a lot of fireflies together as candles and placed them in various rooms for lighting, so Kutafu can work until very late before going to bed. But even if he falls asleep, the candles will not go out, because fireflies will not turn off the lights at night, and they will automatically turn off the light source only when it is dawn. It seems that people here can only sleep with the lights on at night, but Kutafu is used to it. Because there is light here and Kutafu does not take it seriously, his defense is extremely lax. Originally, 1,000 ant soldiers were not enough. Now everyone simply went to sleep, leaving less than 100 ant soldiers on duty to guard all 4 directions. There were only 20 ant soldiers guarding each side, and even the patrol team went to sleep. The night attack commando only needed to deal with these 20 ant soldiers on one side. Seeing this, the commando captain Gunner King decided to take 30 commandos himself to capture the prime minister alive, and the deputy captain took the remaining 40 members to cover the left and right sides to block the reinforcements that the enemy might send. Then, the captain Gunner King led 30 spider commandos and quickly rushed into the prime minister's residence and killed the 20 ant soldiers cleanly. When they came to a large room, a female spider suddenly rushed out and asked, "What human, what are you doing?" It turned out that she was the spider responsible for tying fireflies. There was such a female spider in each large room with fireflies. The 2 commandos were too lazy to talk, and rushed up to attack from the left and right, and killed the female spider in a blink of an eye. This happened every time they entered a large room. Finally, they caught the prime minister crying and farting in the largest and best room, tied him up with spider silk and took him away without saying a word. Soon they retreated all the way back to the meeting place outside the city. Finally, the 20 commandos who attacked the enemy army headquarters all the way, unfortunately alarmed the enemy and were besieged. The situation was like this. At the beginning, they also cleverly avoided the enemy's sentry posts and patrols, but the further they went, the more enemies there were. After all, the army headquarters and the city defense force base camp were very close, and this place was simply a dragon's den and tiger's lair. There were not only sentry posts and patrols here, but also clerks, handymen and field service soldiers coming and going. Even in the middle of the night, there were some unsound soldier ants wandering here. Unfortunately, the commandos happened to encounter a group of such unsound guys and started fighting. Inadvertently, they alarmed 2 or 3 nearby patrols. As a result, the more the commandos fought, the more enemies there were, until they were finally surrounded by the enemy. These were not just a few hundred or a few thousand ants, but tens of thousands or even more. They fought until they were exhausted and had to be captured. Fortunately, the 10 commandos who destroyed the Locust Air Force fighter found that the situation was not good and withdrew to the outskirts of the city in time to report the news, so they were spared. When it was almost dawn, Zissou, who was waiting outside the city, finally received intelligence from all sides and knew that this operation was basically a failure. Although half of the mission was completed, the most important mission of capturing the Big Stomach King alive was not completed. No mistakes, 1 post, 1 content, 1.6, 1 book, 1 bar. Look. Now they have lost 20 commandos. Alice. Zissou did not expect that the mission would be so difficult. Since the mission was not completed, he could only interrogate Kudapai first to understand some specific circumstances. "Are you Prime Minister Kudapai?" Zissou asked. "That's right, a man should not change his name when sitting or walking, and I am Kudapai." "Who are you?" Kudapai replied, waving his tentacles. "My name is Zissou." "Who is Zissou?" "It's the flying devil you were talking about." Alice. "But now I am old and useless, and I can't fly anymore." "Ah. You are the flying god warrior we have recruited," Kudapai said in surprise, waving his tentacles. "Aren't you going to take up the post of National Defense Commissioner and Deputy Commander of the Air Force? Then why did you catch me in the middle of the night? Are you trying to rebel?" This series of questions confused Kudapai, and he didn't quite understand. Facing this Kudapai who was still in the dark, Zissou thought for a while and said cunningly, "Because I'm worried that you might harm me, I caught you and asked about the details, so I can feel at ease. How could we harm you? We Big Eaters have always been honest and trustworthy people, and we will never harm any surrenderer." "Really? Why don't I believe it?" "Now that we've said this, it's up to you whether you believe it or not. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109, Prisoner Exchange. Well, even if what you said is true, I can't take the position. Because I won't lie for more than a few days, Zisu said. Oh. I remember now. You mantises can't survive the winter. Your lifespan is short. Hey. Look at us doing stupid things. We actually spent so much manpower and material resources to recruit you, a short-lived ghost. How stupid and worthless, Kudapai said, waving his antennae with sudden enlightenment. Do you ants often do such stupid things? Zisu asked. Hey. Even our gods and humans often do stupid things, such as inventing advanced weapons to kill each other, inventing intelligent robots that are smarter and more capable than themselves to destroy humans, etc. Let alone us ants who are far inferior to humans. Oh. That's true. Now I want to ask you a personal question, can I? What personal questions do I have? Ask if you want to. Why did you choose the name Crying and Farting? Is there a reason? Hey. It's quite funny, because I have loved crying since I was a child, and once I cry, I fart constantly. So, my parents named me Crying and Farting. In our prestigious families in the Walan country, many people love the word fart. Although the gods and humans don't like the word fart very much, saying you fart is scolding you for talking nonsense. But in our Walan nation, you fart means you are right, and you fart means you are so right. Oh. So that's how it is. Then what does it mean that you set up your prime minister's residence on the top of a hill? The mountain is open to the wind, so we can be the first to know when the weather is getting cold. This is an effective way I thought of to urge myself to complete the task of collecting food and grass for the winter as soon as possible. Why do you have so few guards? First, now is the busiest season for us ants. Even most of my guards have been sent out to transport food and grass, so I really have no ability to increase the defense. Second, I can't think of anyone who would be so cold to me. Of course, except you. Then look, if I use you to exchange my 20 brothers, will you, the Big Stomach King, agree? That's hard to say. I personally think that the Big Stomach King should agree. After all, I have done a lot for it in the past few years, and it should remember me. But it's hard to say about those cabinet ministers, especially those ministers who covet my throne. It's even harder to say. Although I will definitely step down next year, no one can guarantee that the Big Stomach King will not make an exception and use me, an old horse who knows the way, again next year. Even if the Big Stomach King appoints my deputy or confidant as prime minister, they will not agree. No matter what, I'm going to give it a try, Zisu said, and turned to the commando next to him and said, who of you is willing to pass a message to the Big Eater for me, saying that we are willing to exchange their prime ministers crying and farting for our 20 captured members? Let me go, Commander-in-Chief, the commando Captain Gunner King said. You can't go, you have to stay and lead everyone back for me. If they are detained by them without keeping the promises, it will be troublesome, Zisu explained. Let's send a smart kid to replace you. After a while, a thief-looking little team member stood up and said, how about, let me go. I promise to complete the task. Little kid, what's your name? Zisu asked. Everyone calls me the thousand-handed spider. Why is it such a strange name? Because I love to move and can't sit still. I like to crawl around. I'm also very clever, quick to react, and crawl fast, as if I have 1,000 hands, the thousand-handed spider. Remember this, come back immediately after delivering the message. Don't delay. If they detain you, you have to find a way to get out by yourself. We may not be able to save you. If you don't come back within a day, we will leave here. If you can get out in the future, don't come here, go home directly. Do you understand? I see. Then I'm leaving now. Then, the thousand-handed spider turned and hurriedly walked towards Kyoto City. No mistakes in one poem, one post, one content, one six, one book, one bar, one look. It was already daybreak, and suddenly a commando observation post came back to report, there are many brown ants rushing towards us from the direction of Kyoto. Commander-in-Chief, what should we do? Crying and waving his antennae, he said, look, you are in trouble. This is all because you are too impulsive. Where can you run now? Shisu said, let's all retreat into the dense forest. Hurry up. After a while, Shisu and the others quickly retreated into the dense forest. They looked out from the depths of the dense forest and found that they were all the enemy's city defense troops. densely packed in layer after layer. It seems that some of the captured team members must have betrayed and collaborated with the enemy. Otherwise, the enemy would not have come so quickly. What to do? Surrender or break out? Shisu kept thinking. Soon, another commando came to report. A large ant colony was also found on the left side of the dense forest. After a while, another commando came to report. Many ant soldiers were also found on the right side of the dense forest. It seemed that the only way was to retreat to the mountain behind the dense forest. Zissou immediately asked the commandos to retreat to the back and run to the mountain. However, when they passed through the dense forest and crossed a small river behind the dense forest, they found that there were enemy ambushes everywhere on the mountain not far away. This was really blocked in front and pursued behind. Now there are enemies almost everywhere. What should we do? Hand over Ku Dafan and see if we can break through. Thinking of this, Zissou sent a commando to tell the enemy commander-in-chief, let's let Prime Minister Ku Dafan go, can we exchange a way out? But the enemy commander-in-chief, Lieutenant General Thai, said that according to the instructions of his superiors, he could ignore Ku Dafan's life or death, and as long as we did not surrender, he would destroy us. Chapter 110, The Hero's End. There was no other way. Zissou had to say to the commando leader Gunner King, I think you should lead your commando team to surrender, otherwise, you should serve as Mantis's guard and escort it back. I will not surrender, I won't live long anyway, and I will end my life here soon. No. Commander-in-chief, you can't do this, Gunner King said, we will fight our way out with you, and we will definitely be able to get out. The other commandos also shouted in unison, Commander-in-chief, no. Don't abandon us. We are all willing to advance and retreat with you and share life and death with you, stupid. Just talk nonsense, Zissou said angrily, I am a rotten wood that is about to wither. You are all young and strong guys, and most of you have wives and children. How can you be like me? Be obedient. Otherwise, I will die in front of you immediately. Then, Zissou Mantis said to Mantis, take them away immediately, I entrust them all to you. I trained them all myself, and they are all good at martial arts. From now on, they will be used as your guards. You are really a good person, said Kudapai, waving its tentacles. I will treat them well. You can go without worry. I hope you will be very happy in heaven. After completing the last instructions before his death, Shizo slowly walked under a small tree, ready to commit suicide by seppuku with its serrated knife. Just as it raised the serrated knife to cut its belly, suddenly a little bird on the tree said, ouch! You big idiot, you are cutting your big belly with a knife? You won't die in a short time, and it will hurt you to death. Your neck is so thin. If you cut your neck with a knife, your head will fall off immediately, and you will die soon. You won't be in pain for a long time, isn't it better? Zissou put down the serrated knife, raised his head and said, my little bird classmate, I am following the traditional suicide custom of the Wallen Kingdom. I didn't expect you to have a better way. You are so smart. What's your name? The bird said, Tisk. This is also smart. If I want to commit suicide, there are better ways. I am a turtle dove, you can call me little turtle dove. Zissou asked modestly, my little turtle dove classmate, do you have any better way to commit suicide? Tell me, the little turtle dove said, isn't there a river next to you? You can jump into the river and commit suicide. In this way, you may suffer less. This idea is not bad, Shisu said, but I won't commit suicide right away. Before I die, I want to fart a few times. Oh. It's just a death, said the little dove. Why do you have to make it a little fancy? You're so fussy. Hey. Can you please stop doing that? Shisu complained. I'm about to die. It's not too much to fart a few times before I die, right? Hey. It's a bit like me, crying and farting said, waving its tentacles. I'm the one who loves to fart the most. Hey. Mr. Crying and Farting, said Shisu, you fart with your asshole, and I fart with my mouth, which is not the same thing, Mr. Flying Godman, Crying and Farting said, waving its tentacles, actually you don't understand. Not only can I fart with my asshole, I can also fart with my mouth, and I can even fart while crying. Otherwise, how could I have served as Prime Minister for 3 consecutive terms? Wow. I didn't expect that, Prime Minister Crying and Farting, your farting ability is so high. I admire you. I really admire you. Love Fox Spicy Oil, Zissa said. And then it actually read the short song written by Cao in the ancient 3 Kingdoms period, drinking and singing. How long is life? Like the morning dew, The past days are full of suffering. I should be generous, and my worries are unforgettable. How to relieve worries? Only do Kang. Your green collar, my heart is lingering. But for your sake, I have been pondering until now. The deer calls, eating wild apples. I have guests, playing the harp and blowing the flute. It is as bright as the moon, when can it be picked? Worry comes from it, and it cannot be stopped. Crossing the fields and paths, it is in vain to keep each other. Twucking and feasting, thinking of the old favor. The moon is bright and the stars are sparse, and the magpies fly south. Circling the tree 3 times, which branch can I rely on? The mountain is never too high, and the water is never too deep. Zhou spits out food, and the world is at peace. Then, Zissou read another poem, Man Zheng Hong, written by Yu Fei in the Southern Song Dynasty. My hair is standing on end with anger. I lean on the railing, and the rain has stopped. I look up and howl at the sky, with a strong heart. 30 years of fame and glory are dust and dirt, and 8,000 miles of journey are clouds and moon. Don't wait, your hair is white, and you are sad for nothing. No mistakes in one poem. The shame of Jinkang has not yet been avenged. When will the hatred of the ministers be eliminated? I drove a long chariot and trampled through the gap in the Helen Mountains. I am ambitious to eat the meat of the barbarians when I am hungry, and drink the blood of the Xiongnu when I am thirsty. I will start from the beginning, clean up the old mountains and rivers, and face the sky. Finally, it reads another poem, Shu Xiang, written by Du Fu, a famous poet in the Tang dynasty. Where can I find the Prime Minister's shrine? There are dense cypresses outside Jinggan City. The green grass on the steps is from the spring, and the orioles are singing through the leaves. He visited the Prime Minister 3 times to ask for advice on the affairs of the country, and he helped the old ministers of the 2 dynasties. He died before he could achieve his goal, which always makes heroes cry. After reading these 3 ancient poems, Zissou said, after letting out 3 big stinky farts, I want to let out a loud fart at the end. Please, my lovely little turtle dove classmate, find me a little sparrow. The little turtle dove asked in confusion, why do you have to find a little sparrow? Because sparrows are social animals. I want to spread my heroic deeds among birds, so I must let them be my messengers. Do you understand? Zissou said this deliberately. Got it. I'll find it for you right away. I didn't expect that you are quite funny and have a lot of tricks. Not long after, the little turtle dove actually brought a large group of sparrows. Seeing this, Zissou hurriedly asked, I asked you to find a little sparrow. Why did you find a large group? You can't blame me for this. The little turtle dove complained. I told them that you only need a little sparrow to spread your heroic deeds. But when they heard that there was a story to listen to, they all came and wanted to listen to your story. Chapter 111, Starting Over. I see. Then I don't blame you, and I want to praise you for doing a good job. Then, Shissa asked the group of sparrows, hey. Excuse me, who is your leader here? I am. A black-headed sparrow said. What's the matter? Nothing, Shissa said. Just wait for me to finish telling the story, and then you can lead everyone to tell it to other relatives and friends. Okay, as long as your story is wonderful and can provide us with a good topic for after-dinner conversation, we can't wait to tell others, the black-headed sparrow said. Don't dawdle, tell the story quickly. We can't wait to hear your story. No problem. I'll start now. Then, Shissa started talking about how it had sneaked into the flea training camp and the flea cavalry camp at night since it turned into a mantis, how it cleverly set traps to lure and kill the Zero Fighter and Locust Air Force fighter several times, and how it used the amnesty to paralyze the enemy. In addition, there are also blind date meetings for finding a mate for the mother spider and the failure of the sneak attack on the enemy's Kyoto leader. These wonderful stories drew cheers and last sighs from the sparrows. At this point, the life journey of the purple mantis should end. Finally, Purple Mantis asked the leader sparrow what its name was, and the leader sparrow told it that it was no trouble. So Purple Mantis raised its head and shouted, God, after I die, let my soul be entrusted to the leader sparrow called No Trouble. Then, it cut its neck with a serrated knife, thus ending its life as a mantis. In the blink of an eye, the black-headed sparrow No Trouble began to have trouble. It felt a sharp pain in its head, causing it to fall from the small tree into the grass under the tree, and immediately fainted. Seeing this, the sparrows flew down from the tree one after another, landed around the leader sparrow, and asked kindly, What's wrong with your head? What's going on? Where do you feel uncomfortable? Faced with such a weird scene, the Thai general, the crying and farting, and the surrounding black ants watching on the scene were all stunned and didn't know how to deal with it. After a long while, the black-headed sparrow No Trouble slowly woke up. It shook its head vigorously, looked at the sparrows around it who were looking at it with concern, and slowly said, "Why are you all looking at me like that? I'm fine. Maybe I've been too tired from work recently and didn't pay attention to rest. I got dizzy and fainted temporarily. It's okay, just take a rest. Now let's leave here quickly, we can't stay here for long." Of course, the one who said this was no longer the original No Trouble sparrow, but Shizo, No Escape. Now Shizo has controlled and replaced the original sparrow leader, and has started a new animal life again. The leader sparrow No Trouble woke up and struggled to get up from the ground, and then flew away with the sparrows. Only the corpse of Shizo Mantis was left at the scene. The crying prime minister led the male spiders, former night commandos, to bury the Shizo Mantis, count out 3 times on its grave, and then return to the Kyoto city-state with many brown ants around. All the crises seemed to have passed. From then on, the purple sparrow took all his brothers and sisters to spread the heroic deeds of the purple mantis everywhere. In fact, it was just self-praise, and no matter where he went, he would take it as the main topic of conversation after dinner. Gradually, almost all the birds within a radius of dozens of miles knew the wonderful story of the purple mantis, and everyone admired and worshipped it. Seeing that the effect was good, Purple Sparrow achieved its first step. Then, it told everyone that the ants, especially the ants in the Woolen Kingdom, stored a lot of food for the winter, and asked everyone to rob the ants when it was difficult to find food. As a result, the news that the ants stored a lot of food quickly spread in the bird world, and almost all the birds got red-eye disease and wanted to rob and become robbers who came to rob. Naturally, this vanguard had to be done by Purple Sparrow himself. He led his group of tribal sparrows and often flew over the Woolen Kingdom to find food warehouses and food transport teams. Since the ants' food warehouses are hidden deep in the ant holes, Zissou can only lead the sparrows to attack the ants, mainly the ants from the Japanese Blue Country, food transport team, and intercept the ants' food. Fortunately, this is the busiest season for ants to collect and store food, and Zissou and his team have repeatedly made gains. No mistakes in one poem, one post, one content, 1/6, 1/9, one book, one bar. As the saying goes, the power of example is infinite. Seeing Zissou and his team take the lead in robbing the ants' food and grass and succeeding repeatedly, other sparrow groups and other birds also followed suit. All day long, the frequent appearance of flying robbers has dealt a heavy blow to the Japanese Blue Country's winter food collection activities, and also caused trouble for the Red Ant Country's food transport team. This time, almost all ant countries within a radius of dozens of miles have trouble with winter food problems, which is precisely caused by Zissou, the trouble-free sparrow. At this moment, Su-san, the princess of the Red Ant Kingdom, received an order from her mother, the queen, asking her to personally supervise and inspect the problem of the Red Ant Kingdom's winter grain collection. She heard that almost every day, several groups of robber birds swooped down from the sky to rob her grain transport team, which made her very annoyed and troubled. Because she was an eagle in her previous life, she knew that flying birds had a huge advantage over small animals on the ground, which was difficult to deal with. However, the Perilla Sparrow knew nothing about this. It only led everyone to rob the winter grain of the Woolen Kingdom, but did not expect that the winter grain of the Red Ant Kingdom would also suffer as a result. One day, it led a team to fly over the territory of the Red Ant Kingdom. It saw another group of sparrows robbing the grain transport team of the Red Ant Kingdom, so it flew over to ask, "Hey, buddies, why are you robbing the grain of the Red Ant Kingdom?" "This is wrong," the leader of the other side, the yellow-billed sparrow, asked back. "Why can't we rob? Aren't ants said to store food? Look, which of us sparrows would rob the ants without seeing them transporting food? What's wrong with that?" Chapter 112 Solving the Trouble. Zissou said angrily, "Of course not. This red ant is a good ant, we can't bully it. The other ants are bad ants, so we have to rob them, understand?" The yellow-billed sparrow said, "I don't understand. Why do you say red ants are good ants? Why can't good ants rob? We are not ants." Zissou Sparrow was speechless, not knowing what to say. "It can't say that I used to be on the side of the red ants, so we have to take care of them. Who would believe it? Even if people believe it, they don't have to do you a favor. After all, they are not related to you. Why should they help you and let themselves starve?" Thinking of this, Zissou felt really embarrassed to speak again. Because this trouble was caused by himself, and this time he asked others not to do it again, isn't this slapping himself in the face? This time, if I don't bother the sparrow, I feel that I have caused trouble, and it is not a small trouble. If Susan is really in the Red Ant Kingdom and plays an important role in the Red Ant Kingdom, then I am not causing trouble for it. This was the first big trouble that Shisu had caused since she became the trouble-free sparrow. Shisu was speechless to the yellow-billed sparrow, and turned away in anger. Speaking of Susan, facing the fact that her winter food and grass were robbed by flying birds all day long, she was very distressed and helpless. She sat at the entrance of her barracks all day, staring at the sky in a daze, thinking hard, what should I do to save my Red Ant Kingdom? At this time, the trouble-free sparrow, Shisu, was also standing on the tree thinking, it seems that the trouble I have caused to Susan and the others this time is not small. Can they survive the coming severe winter? I hope they can survive. Alice. I am a guy who is not good at doing things, but more likely to cause trouble. I have always caused trouble for others. If Susan had died in battle or starved to death, and was reborn as another animal, then I would have no worries. Hey. It's really a headache. I simply don't want to think about it. Now I can only take one step at a time. Thinking of this, Shisu Sparrow still robbed the food and grass of the Wollen Kingdom as usual. As the food supply of the Wollen Kingdom's grain transport team became less and less, Shisu felt that this could not continue and that his tribe would starve to death, so he stopped robbing. Instead, he went to the fields and forests to catch insects such as mantises, grasshoppers, crickets, locusts, and ladybugs. When he caught a lot, he would give them to the Red Ant Kingdom. He also delivered food to the gate of the Red Ant Army's grain warehouse and even stood guard for the Red Ant Army to prevent other flying sparrows from coming to rob and cause trouble. This made Susan and the people of the Red Ant Empire overjoyed and grateful, thinking that these sparrows that delivered food were righteous birds sent by God to help them. At first, the subordinates of the purple sparrow were very puzzled by its behavior, so it said, these red ants are good ants. Their winter food has been robbed by other bird flocks. There will be a food famine this winter, and we should help them. The subordinates asked again, why do you only help them and not other ants, and even rob other ants? Purple Sparrow had to say, I was saved by red ants in my previous life. So, I must repay them in this life. Other ants chased me in my previous life and were my enemies. So I want to retaliate against them in this life, the subordinates said. So that's the case. Do you still remember things from your previous life in this life? Purple Sparrow lied again. Of course. This is what makes me different from everyone else. Otherwise, how could I be a leader? But you can't. This is the talent and ability of being a leader. Many outstanding leaders know things from their previous lives, and some even know things about the future. The subordinates admired. Wow. So amazing. So, you will be our outstanding leader in the future, Zisu said confidently. It shouldn't be wrong, his subordinates said quickly. Boss, I admire you so much. No. We all admire you. From now on, we are all your loyal subordinates. In this way, Zisu Sparrow led everyone to catch all kinds of insects and grains and other food, and transported the food to the door of the grain warehouse of the Red Ant Kingdom with their mouths. Since sparrows are the Air Force and ants are the Army, and Zisu led a large group of sparrows to carry food for the Red Ant Kingdom, its efficiency is hundreds of times higher than that of ants moving houses. Soon, in a few days, the Red Ant Kingdom had more than enough food for the winter. It is estimated that he could not eat so much, and he could even sell some. Seeing that the big trouble he caused was finally solved by himself, Zisu was relieved to consider the problem of his team's wintering. No mistakes in one poem, one post, one content, 1/6, one book, one bar. Take a look. Generally, birds build a bird's nest on a branch and make their home on a tree. In this regard, Zisu was not particularly good, so he did not dare to have any innovative ideas, so he had to follow the rules and follow the routine. So, it first led everyone to find those big trees that were sheltered from the wind, and after finding them, they built a new home for the winter with everyone. In a few days, this wish was soon realized. However, it was not satisfied with this, and it also had to store enough food for the sparrows to spend the winter. It led everyone to dig a few holes on the cliff on the top of the hill with bird claws that were very suitable for sparrows to enter and exit, as a food warehouse for sparrows to spend the winter. Then, it led everyone to collect food and put it in the hole. In this way, the sparrows, led by Shisu, kept busy until the day when it started to snow. Speaking of which, sparrows are not much different from ants, and they are all very diligent animals. This time, under the leadership of Shisu, the sparrow leader who was born from human beings, Shisu's group of sparrows spent a comfortable and warm winter, and no longer lived a life of hunger and cold like in previous winters. The sparrows became more and more trusting and convinced of Shisu. With the final help of Shisu's sparrows, the ants of the Red Ant Kingdom also spent a warm and comfortable winter, and almost no ants starved to death. Chapter 113, Shizu in Danger. On the contrary, the ants of the Wallen Kingdom suffered. They were very short of food because of the robbery of sparrows and birds such as Perilla. In the severe winter, the ants were short of food, and many old, weak, sick and disabled ants either starved to death or froze to death. Those young and strong ants fought each other for the scarce food, which caused internal strife. Even the Big Stomach King came out to suppress it. After all, it was better to die in battle than to starve to death. There was no other way. In the end, the only way to suppress the most fierce groups of ants was to use force to suppress the food riot. However, the problem of food shortage could not be fundamentally solved. In the end, the Big Stomach King had to take the lead in reducing his daily food standard and opening the granary of the royal palace treasury to take out food to relieve the victims. At the same time, he also required officials and wealthy businessmen at all levels across the country to do so, and only then did the Wallen Kingdom finally survive this very difficult winter of hunger and cold. Time flies, the cold winter is about to pass, and the new year is here again. These days, the sky is clear and there is no more snow. When the Perilla sparrow has nothing to do, it flies outside to other big trees to sing and express its feelings. In this winter that is about to pass, Perilla, as the leader of a large group of sparrows, faces a group of suitors, but it does not feel happy, but distressed. Among the female sparrows pursuing Perilla, there are both beautiful young women and slender ladies. Among them, there are 3 beauties who pursue Perilla the most crazily. Although these 3 female sparrows are not born from the same mother's belly, they are the best sisters to play with, and they are also the most beautiful girls in this group of sparrows. The eldest is called Quemei, the second is called Quaxing, and the third is called Quahu. Last winter, the 3 sisters always stayed in a bird's nest with Perilla, and they were inseparable and snuggled up to her left and right and behind her. Usually, the second and third snuggled up to Perilla, while the eldest snuggled up to her behind. However, Zisu was not moved at all. She only thought of Susan. However, she did not explicitly refuse the support of the 3 sisters. After all, it was warm when they were crowded together, which could more or less resist the cold of winter. In the early spring morning, the sun was particularly soft, warm and bright, and the breeze was blowing gently. The atmosphere was mixed with freshness and tranquility. Zisu refused the company of any sparrows and flew alone to the tip of a branch on the top of the crown of a big tree hundreds of meters away from her nest. She sang her favorite part of the Peking opera Shajia Bang by Commander Hu. Thinking back to the beginning, my team had just started, with only a dozen people and 7 or 8 guns. When I was chased by the Imperial Army, I was dizzy. Thanks to Qing Sao, she told me to hide in the water tank. She was there to refill the water, and she was calm as if nothing had happened. She coaxed the Japanese soldiers away, and I escaped a disaster. I will never forget such a life-saving grace. I, Hu, am loyal and will repay it in the end. Suddenly, a cat's meow came from under the tree. And a black civet cat climbed up from under the tree and sat down on a large branch 2 meters away from the purple sparrow, saying, "Boy, why are you wailing here alone so early in the morning, you stupid bird? Are you howling? I can howl or not, none of your business," Purple Sparrow said. "Where did you come from, you ugly and black wildcat, so disgusting? Damn, boy, how dare you humiliate me," said the black civet cat. "You don't want to live. Do you believe that I can eat you right away? If you have the guts, climb up and eat me," Purple Sparrow said. "If you can't eat me, you are my grandson." "Oh, today I really met a bird that is not afraid of death," the black civet cat said. "Just wait, if I don't eat you, I will not be a cat, but a stupid bird." When the black cat climbed up the treetops lightly and stretched out its long arms to catch Shizu, the Shizu sparrow flew away a second ago. "Don't run, boy," the black cat said angrily. "If you have the guts, don't run. Birds that can only run away are not good birds. Birds that can't run are really stupid birds," Shizu said as he flew. Shizu flew to the branch of another tree not far from the tree just now to rest, and deliberately said, "Hey, Black cat boy, if you have the guts, climb up this tree to catch me. I won't be fooled by you, boy, the black cat said. When I climb in front of you, you will fly away again. So, according to this, you admit defeat, Shizo said. Since you have already admitted defeat, then you can call me Grandpa, and I may forgive your unreasonableness. No mistakes in one poem, one post, one content, one book, one forum, 1619, one book, one forum, one look. Bah. You want me to call you Grandpa? Dream on, the black cat said. I'm too lazy to care about you now. You say I'm a rogue, but I think you're the real rogue, Zisu said. You can't beat him, and you don't want to admit defeat. If this isn't a rogue, then what is it? Just as the two of them were cursing each other, a magpie fell from the sky and flew to a branch not far from Zisu's tree and said, I think both of you are rogues. However, I don't like the big rogue, but I'm interested in you, the little rogue. Little rogue, don't run away. I've been hungry for several days and I'm worried about where to find food. Since you're so obedient and bring it to my mouth, I'll accept it with pleasure. Then, the magpie flew towards Zisu's sparrow. Zisu was so scared that his soul flew away. He immediately spread his wings and flew high, flapping his wings desperately and flew towards his own nest. But it was no match for the magpie, and the magpie was one of the natural enemies of the sparrow. Soon the magpie caught up with Zisu, stretched out its claws and caught it, and pecked Zisu's neck with its long sharp beak, making it unable to move. Brother magpie, please let me go, Zisu begged for mercy. Look, I am all bones, and I am often so hungry that my belly sticks to my vest. Where is the meat? Look at that fat cat, it is all meat, you should just catch it. Chapter 114, Leading the People in Spring Outing. The magpie took Zisa to a big branch, opened his mouth and said, You kid, you are just trying to be cunning. Do you think I don't know what's in your mind? Are you trying every means to escape? The fat cat you mentioned, can a small body like me deal with a cat of that size? Isn't that courting death? So, you only bully the weak like us, Zisu said. You are bullying the weak and afraid of the strong, typical behavior of a bandit and bully. I am a bandit, I am a bully, and I just want to eat you. Why do you blame me? The magpie said arrogantly. But I heard from everyone that you magpies are all good birds, Zisu said. Humans also regard you magpies as lucky birds and mascots. You shouldn't be so cruel, right? You are talking nonsense, the magpie argued. Humans like to regard us as lucky birds, and there is a reason for that. Because most humans like sunny days and don't like rainy days, which is consistent with our preference. Generally, after the rain, our magpie boys and girls like to fly to the branches in front of human houses and sing love songs to woo, with the purpose of letting humans witness our love. Because humans are also the gods we worship, we think that talking about love in front of humans will have a greater chance of success. This has caused humans to misunderstand us magpies, thinking that this is praying for blessings for them. I was also a human in my previous life, Zisu said, and my soul is immortal. Whoever eats me and destroys my body, my soul will replace his soul, and that person will die and his soul will be eaten by me. Ah! There is such a thing, the magpie said. You are not talking about a fairy tale, are you? Don't scare me, believe it or not, said Zisu. If you are not afraid of death, then you can eat me. Then, he stretched out his neck for the magpie to bite. Hey! Little brother, why do you have to do this? The magpie said timidly. As long as you give me some food, I will let you go. How about it? Hey! Why didn't you say it earlier? Zisu said. I haven't eaten all the winter food I stored last winter. Come with me. I will take it for you right away. After saying that, he stood up and flew towards the winter food storage he built last autumn. The magpie also followed Zisu and flew forward. Since the arrival of spring, the Zisu sparrow has begun to lead its sparrow tribe to fly to the mountains and forests to hunt for food. The white belly of the fish in the east gradually turned red, like a trace of blood seeping out of the belly of a cut fish. Zisu called everyone to fly to the mountains, forests and grasslands to find food. Caterpillars, flying insects and various insects were their delicacies. The adults included beetles such as scarabs, wireworms, rhinoceros beetles, ladybugs, leaf beetles, etc. The larvae included crickets, dragonflies, mosquitoes, flies, bees, butterflies, earthworms, etc. The eggs included grasshoppers, ladybugs, aphids, silkworms, stinkbugs, etc. A large group of sparrows, led by Zisu, rushed over like a small meadow. Except for 2 sparrows standing on a small tree to keep watch, the rest of the sparrows were busy looking for food to fill their stomachs. The 3 sparrow sisters, Quimi, Quexing and Quaihua, followed Zissou closely, and never left his side no matter where he flew. These 3 sisters were masters of foraging and hunting. After a short while, not only did they eat their own food, but they also found a lot of food for Zissou, letting him enjoy the fruits of his labor. Suddenly, the 2 sparrows on sentry duty cried out, "There's a weasel! A weasel is coming! Everyone, run!" Soon, the flock of thousands of sparrows flew to the nearby grove. When everyone landed on a branch, they found a gray weasel running from a distance to where everyone had just eaten insects. The weasel wanted to take advantage of everyone looking down to look for food and suddenly rush over to grab a sparrow that had no time to escape and eat it to satisfy its craving. Now seeing that all the sparrows had flown away, they shouted unwillingly, "If you have the ability, then don't run away. You are all a bunch of cowards, Tisk. If you have the ability, just fly up the tree." The eldest of the 3 sisters, Quemini, retorted, "If you can't eat the grapes, you say the grapes are sour. I was just teasing you. Your little bit of meat, less than 2 taels, is not enough to fill my teeth. Do you know what I want to eat the most? What I want to eat the most is chicken, whether it is a rooster, a hen, a chick, or a pheasant, a wild chicken, or a domestic chicken. They are all my favorites. I know, you call it a weasel pays New Year's greetings to the chicken with no good intentions. That is a slander and prejudice against us weasels by humans. Although we weasels like to steal chickens, that is just our hobby. We have more hunting skills that you don't know yet." "Really? Then I'm all ears." "Do you know what the most powerful skill of us weasels is? Isn't it that when we encounter natural enemies, we fart with a very stinky smell to drive them away so that we can escape? Even stink bugs can do this. You only know one thing but not the other. We fart not only when we run away, but also when we fight. For example, most animals, including tigers, leopards, black bears, wolves and other beasts, are helpless against monsters like hedgehogs. But we have a way. We can fart and kill them, and make them fall on the ground with their 4 legs up in the air, revealing their white belly without any thorns. Then, we can easily eat them." "Wow. It's really powerful. What a trick." Everyone laughed at the same time. "Hey. What are you talking about? So lively?" A male white stork suddenly flew over and said. "Nothing. We are listening to the weasels bragging and farting." The second of the 3 sisters, Quexing, said. "Hey. What's so good about this? You are really ignorant. I'll take you to the city. It's much more fun there than here," the male white stork said. "Is there anything delicious there?" asked Xing. Chapter 115 Love to join in the fun. The food warehouses in the city are full of all kinds of food, and there are also many delicious foods in the big kitchens of big hotels and restaurants. We can sneak in when people are not paying attention, and it will be enough to eat some food, the male white stork said. "Oh. So you are going to the city to steal? Then we can't go. We can't afford to lose face," the second child Quexing said. "What an ignorant country bumpkin," Cheho knew. "I won't go, forget it," the male white stork said, and flew away angrily. Cuckoo, cuckoo with 2 bird calls, another cuckoo flew over. "Hi. Hello. Beauty, what are you talking about?" the cuckoo said to the third child Quaihua. "Nothing. Who are you? What are you doing here?" Quaihua said. "I'm a cuckoo, named Good Shame." "Beautiful lady, may I ask your name?" "My name is Quaihua. These 2 are my sisters, the eldest is Quemei and the second is Quexing." "Hello, eldest sister." "Hello, second sister." "Hello, everyone. Wow. You're quite sweet-mouthed." "What are you doing here?" said the second oldest Quexing. "I have nothing to do. I came to see the fun." Tisk, another second-rate guy, with nothing to do, just wandering out to join in the fun. "Humph," said the eldest Quemei with disdain. "Big sister, what you said is not very nice. I'm not a second-rate guy. I'm a bird with a serious job, named Cuckoo. We cuckoos have been serving as clockbirds for spring plowing and sowing for mankind for more than 100,000 years. Believe it or not, really? Do you still have the ability to serve mankind?" said the eldest Quemei. "Of course, just like larks can sing and parrots can speak human language, we are responsible for ringing the bell for spring planting for humans. It's just a different division of labor, it's just a night watchman." "Why are you chatting with it so enthusiastically?" said the purple sparrow. "You are the night watchman. Your whole family is night watchmen," The cuckoo said angrily, "What kind of birdman is this? You look down on the working people. I don't want to play with you. It hurts my self-esteem. I'm leaving." After saying that, he flew away. Not long after, another thrush flew over. "Oh. Chirping, it's quite lively," said the thrush. "How about I sing a popular song for you? Are you as good as the lark?" said the third sparrow. "Of course we can't compare. He's a famous singer, and I'm just a little singer who just debuted. Since we can't compare, then don't sing. Shut up and go have fun. Don't be so ungrateful, okay? People asked me to sing, but I was too lazy to sing. I'm happy today, so I'm willing to sing for you. What's there to be happy about? Tell me, a handsome boy proposed to me. Do you think I should be happy? Oh, a silly boy proposed to you, and you're showing off here, right? I think you'd better get out of here. Otherwise, we don't like you and we'll beat you up." "Who can you cry to?" the second bird, quaxing, said with some jealousy. "Let's go. Who wants to stay with you weird guys?" Humph. After saying that, the thrush flew away angrily. After a while, a couple of swallows flew over and landed on a small tree near the group of purple sparrows. "Oh, look, it's good this time. A young couple has come," the second sister quaxing said. "Are you envious of the young couple? Otherwise, go find one yourself," the eldest sister quaimly said. "Go. In my heart, only our leader, Big Brother, is not troublesome. Others are not in my eyes at all," the second sister quaxing said. "It's not just you who don't bother Big Brother. Why are you showing off?" the third sister queho said. "Stop arguing. Big Brother hasn't agreed to bother you two yet." "What are you two arguing about?" the eldest sister quaimly said. "Okay. Everyone, stop making trouble. Let's set off at dawn tomorrow and go to the big mountain in front to play. How about it?" Zissa said. Yes, I like it. I like it too," the three sisters said happily. In the early morning, Zissa led a large group of sparrows to set off. Soon, the east turned white, and then it was dark for a while. Then, as if something was suddenly turned on, the east was bright, and hundreds of birds in the forest sang together. Everything came alive in an instant. When the morning light first appeared, the flowers and plants in the mountains and fields were shining with millions of dewdrops, which were even more beautiful against the red clouds of the day. When the sun rose, Zissou and her group of sparrows flew to the foot of the mountain, rested for a while, and when it was bright, they flew to the top of the mountain again. What a big mountain! They flew for a quarter of an hour before they flew to the top of the mountain. Zissou led everyone to stand on the treetop canopy at the top of the mountain, overlooking the mountain, looking far away, feeling relaxed and happy. There was a winding river at the foot of the mountain. Under the sun, it was like a small snake with golden waves and green shimmering, winding forward. Across the river, there was another higher and larger mountain range with rolling hills. There were green trees and shades there, and there must be many animals of all sizes. After standing for a while, they continued to fly towards the mountains in front. After about 2 or 3 hours, they had already climbed over 10 hills and entered a canyon. On the right side of the valley was a cliff with a waterfall and a spring. The mountain spring gurgled down, splashing many water droplets, and rainbows appeared in the sun. It was so beautiful and varied that it looked like a fairyland. The sparrows were so happy to come to this beautiful paradise like a fairyland. Some stood on the stones by the stream under the waterfall and sang. Some even fell into the stream to bathe and play. Some went to the water to find small fish and shrimps to eat, and more of them looked for beetles, wireworms, ladybugs and other adults and crickets, dragonflies, mosquitoes, butterflies, earthworms and other larvae in the grass by the stream. This is simply a paradise for sparrows. Everyone was so happy here that they didn't want to go back and planned to stay here for 2 nights. As night fell, it was getting darker and darker. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116 Spring Killer. Susan never dreamed that she would almost die in the palace. The story goes like this. Soon after the beginning of spring, the Red Ant Kingdom, like any other ant kingdom and ant tribe in the world, began to build ant nests everywhere. The capital palace of the Red Ant Kingdom where she and her mother Queen Saffron lived was also under construction and expansion. Many worker ants were running around, either carrying soil or carrying food, always busy. At this time, Princess Ling Xiao Susan was having an intimate and pleasant conversation with the queen in the secret room of the palace. Suddenly, the world spun and the whole palace cave was shaking without warning. First, the cave wall shook violently, and then mud and sand poured down from the top of the cave. The second wave almost followed, then the third wave, the fourth wave. The silent shaking of the earth became more and more intense, and it was getting closer and closer to the secret room of the palace. The continuous rumbling roar was like an earthquake. Princess Ling Xiao was shocked and thought there was an earthquake. She fell to the ground in fear, her heart beating wildly like a rabbit in her chest. Queen Saffron was also trembling with fear. She fell to the ground with a pale face and gasped for breath. She ordered Princess Ling Xiao hysterically with the unique fluctuating breath of a queen, "Go out and see what's going on. If it's an invasion by foreign enemies, then you will order all my subjects to eliminate the foreign enemies and resist the invasion. Go." "Yes," Susan agreed with her tentacles dancing. Then she hurriedly climbed out of the palace secret room and ran outside. She wanted to find out what was going on. As she jumped and ran through the pile of gravel, the shaking in the cave became more and more severe, forcing her to stop and fall to the ground. At this moment, a pile of countless mud collapsed in front of her, completely blocking the road ahead. If Susan had stopped a second later, she would have been buried in the pile of mud in front of her, and her life would have been in danger. So she had no choice but to turn around and retreat, looking for another way out. Bridges, arches, and basements collapsed one by one, and with hundreds of thousands of shocked figures, the smell message of the highest alert had been sent out and gradually spread. This most dangerous alarm smell soon enveloped all the upper tunnels. The ant residents who smelled this smell trembled in fear, bumping around like headless flies, and releasing more pungent ant warning smells along the way. Panic snowballed, and the cloud-like alarm smell spread quickly, flying to every tunnel in all the affected areas, and finally converging on the main road. Soon, the expected sand and soil swept in like an avalanche, and the sandstorm stirred up the entire side of the corridor and the central road surface of other corridors. The shaking of the cave wall suddenly stopped. Susan was at a large tunnel intersection, and half of the road surface had been blocked by sand and ants. A panicking silence followed. All the ants stood still, waiting for what was to come, antennae raised, swaying gently, waiting. Suddenly, the needle-like tapping sound disappeared, and a low roar sounded. The branch structure outside the palace cave seemed to have just been pierced. The huge object rolled in from the dome, bit the wall, and slid down through the branches. The pink and delicate tongue appeared in the middle of the intersection, waving around constantly, scraping across the ground as fast as the wind, sweeping up as many ant residents as possible. The large group of soldier ants arranged in a line at the front of the tongue rushed forward, trying to attack with their mandibles. The tongue felt that it had grabbed enough prey, and it withdrew upwards and disappeared, swallowing the whole mouthful of ants into its stomach, and then aimed again. This time the tongue stretched out longer, more greedy, and more unstoppable. The scent message of the highest alert began to be sent out again. The worker ants used the tip of their abdomen to knock on the ground to inform the soldier ants in the lower tunnel who had not yet noticed the disaster. The whole castle echoed with a primitive whirring sound, as if the whole castle was gasping for breath. Da, 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 tap, tap, tap. The outside invader responded and knocked on the dome again, trying to go deeper into the interior. All the ant residents tried to stay close to the cave wall to avoid being swallowed by this crazy red snake. The outside invader seemed to think that there were too few sticky prey, so its tongue stretched out longer. No mistake, one post, one content, 1 6 to 9 book, one bar, one look. A bird's beak, followed by a huge head. It turned out to be a woodpecker. The killer of spring has arrived. This greedy bird that eats insects can dig up to 68 centimeters deep into the brown ant nest and then feast on the ant residents inside. After Susan discovered that the invader was a woodpecker, he immediately notified the Red Ant Army's artillery ants and combat soldier ants to come to the rescue. Waves of panic and fear like an epidemic of infectious diseases have irresistibly seized the hearts of many ants living in the castle cave, making them at a loss of what to do, mentally confused, and almost on the verge of collapse. If the negative effects of this panic continue to worsen, it will be unimaginable. The worker ants in the cave are not only unable to eliminate the invading outsiders, but also self-destruct out of fear. Although the great changes are limited to the western half of this floor above the ground, after the alert is raised to the third level, the entire city-state has been prepared for war. The worker ants move their eggs to the lowest floor to avoid being harmed. Rows of soldier ants march quickly and pass by them, each with their upper jaws wide open. Not long after, Princess Link Xiaosu Sam finally dispatched a large group of Red Ant Army artillery ants and combat soldier ants. At this most chaotic and critical moment, the artillery ants took their positions, assigned their main tasks, and waited for the attack. The ants surrounded the woodpecker's most vulnerable part, the neck. Then they turned around and took a firing position at close range, aiming their abdomen at the woodpecker. Fire. The sphincter was fully activated, spraying out 60% high concentration of formic acid. The woodpecker suddenly felt something tightening around its neck like a scarf full of thorns, and felt a heart-wrenching pain. It struggled, but because its body was stuck too deep, it could no longer get out. Its wings were deeply stuck in the scattered branches and soil of the dome, and it stuck out its tongue again to kill most of the enemy ants that came to attack it at close range. Chapter 117 Ant Abilities. Another batch of reinforcements rushed up. Fire. Formic acid sprayed for the first time. The invader twitched. This time the formic acid bullets were not just needles, but thorns. The invader rushed around in panic. Fire. Formic acid sprayed again. The invader trembled all over, began to have difficulty breathing, and his eyes were dizzy. The formic acid corroded its nerves, leaving it with no escape. Fire ended. Soldier ants with larger mandibles swarmed in from all directions, biting it hard at the wounds that were corroded by formic acid. Another group of ants went around outside and stood on the ruins of the dome to find the woodpecker's tail. Then they began to drill into the various entrances and wounds exposed to the air, entering the woodpecker's body and launching the most deadly attack on it. The invader was in great pain, struggling desperately, rolling from side to side, but it was no longer able to fight back. At this time, another group of ants dived into the lungs and sprayed formic acid again. The invader coughed and choked, but there was no hope of recovery. These armored warriors, like a stream of armored iron, rushed through the invader's body, overcoming one obstacle after another, and continued to advance towards the invader's heart. Not long after, the invader twitched for the last time and died. Ants from all over the palace rushed to dismember the behemoth. The tunnels were filled with ants waving items such as thorn hairs and fluff. Mason ants began to rebuild the damaged dome and tunnels. Outside the ant nest, ants were busy sharing the bird. Meat, fat, fluff and bird skin were distributed to various ant cities that needed these supplies. The first ants appeared about 200 million years before humans appeared on this planet, and they had no choice but to rely on each other. Ants are the only social insects that can attack with force. Humans and ants have very different views on the passage of time. For humans, time is absolute. No matter what happens, the length and cycle of each second are equal. On the contrary, for ants, time is relative. When the weather gets hot, each second becomes very short. When the weather gets cold, each second begins to twist and extend infinitely until they lose consciousness and hibernate. Their flexible view of time leads to a very different concept of speed from that of humans. To define an event, insects not only use space and time, but also add a third coordinate, temperature. Doesn't the body of an ant look perfect? Elegant in round lines, perfect streamline. All insect bodies are carefully designed, and their limbs are wrapped in exclusive slots with perfect fit. Every joint is a magical mechanical structure. The shell embedded in the body seems to be precisely planned by computer design. There is no squeezing and no friction. The triangular head looks at the sky, and the slender and slightly bent feet comfortably touch the ground to support the body, just like a beautiful Ferrari sports car. Using the grip of its claws, it can walk freely on the ceiling, and its eyes have a wide field of vision of 180 degrees. Its antennae can not only receive and radiate thousands of messages that are invisible to our naked eyes, but the top can also be used as a milling machine. Its abdomen is full of pockets, sieves and small compartments, which are conducive to the storage of chemical substances, formic acid. Its mandibles can cut, clamp or grab. And the amazing network of glands in its body releases all kinds of odor information. No mistakes. The modern ant city-state has undergone genetic mutations after millions of years of continuous division of labor. Therefore, some ants are born with huge knife-like mandibles and become pincers. With its mouth that can chew grains and insect bones, it can grind wheat to make flour. They also have vigorous saliva glands to moisten the young ants and sterilize them. All worker ants are infertile at birth, so they have become a labor force of tens of thousands, and they will not be distracted by the hormones stimulated by the mother ant. The reproductive capacity is concentrated in a few professionals, male and female ants, equivalent to princes and princesses. They are born completely for their offspring, well developed and fully equipped. They also have all kinds of novel functions that are generated to assist reproduction, from wings to infrared monocular eyes, and antennae that send and receive abstract emotional molecules, for communication. If humans cannot restrain their main natural enemies, such as jackals, tigers, lions, bears or African hyenas, what will our civilization become? It must be an anxious civilization because it is always questioning everything. Primitive humans will always ask someone to send a corpse to maintain a sense of crisis when they are singing and dancing. In this way, everyone will remind themselves that life is fragile and death can come at any time. We all need to remain highly vigilant at all times. Today, humans have defeated and eliminated species that threatened them, and some have even become museum collections, so that only viruses are left, and perhaps ants can also make them uneasy. In contrast, ant civilization develops under the condition that it cannot eliminate natural enemies. As a result, this insect lives in a state of constant worry, knowing that it has only gone halfway, because even the dumbest relatively intelligent animal can destroy thousands of years of accumulated experience and wisdom by just lifting a foot. Sometimes when walking in the wild on a summer day, people may catch a glimpse of an insect that looks like a fly, and almost gets crushed by us. A closer look reveals that it is a queen ant. If there is one ant here, there should be more than 1,000 ants nearby. They crawl on the ground. Almost all of them are crushed by the soles of people's shoes. But these seemingly insignificant little things can do amazing things when they gather together in large numbers. Chapter 118 Ant Joke. Here are some humorous jokes about ants. 1. A student ran over to the teacher and said, "Teacher, there are a lot of ants in the toilet." The teacher said, "Got it." Suddenly, the teacher remembered that she had just learned the word ant and wanted to test whether the students remembered it, so she asked, "What do ants say?" The students said, "Ant." Ants don't say anything. 2. Mr. Ant and Miss Elephant are in love. Miss Elephant is cheerful all day long. Ant is not satisfied and said to Elephant, "Look, other people's girlfriends are so delicate and cry for their boyfriends from time to time. Why have I never seen you cry? Don't you care about me at all?" Miss Elephant felt wronged and couldn't help shedding a tear. As a result, Mr. Ant was drowned by this tear. 3. Two ants were walking on the road and suddenly saw a very big pear. One ant said, "Hey, a big pear, Italy." The other ant said, "Oh, a big pear, Australia." Let's move it, Spain. Let me try, Russia. Let's take it home, Bulgaria. Let's eat the pear, Kenya. The pear is not tender, Lebanon. Dad, pear, Paris. Haha, those two ants are a father and son. Dad, can you take it, Panama? The ants are a mother and son. The little ant said, "Mom, come and eat it, Malaysia." The mother ant said, "Child, that's Madrid, my pear." One of them saw it and shouted, "What is that?" The other said, "Hush, a pear, Syria, the core is rotten. Netherlands, you will know after you eat the inside, take a bite and it will be rotten. Finland, a female ant climbs onto a pear. Hungary, chest pressing the pear, an ant grabs it and says, "This is my pear." Austria, an ant takes a bite of the pear and its teeth fall out. Damn. Congo, take another bite of the pear, it's poisonous. India, the ant takes a bite and finds that the pear is not fresh, so he says, "Wow, dry." Uganda, an ant says to another ant, "Brother, it's a big pear." Costa Rica. 4. The ant and the elephant get married and divorce within 2 days. The judge asked why, and the ant said, "How can we not divorce? It takes 20 minutes to kiss." The elephant said angrily, "Divorce," resolutely. "It takes a long time to look for it with a microscope, and finally find it. When I take a breath, it disappears again." 5. A group of ants were walking under a tree. A bird stopped on the tree to rest. It saw some small black dots moving. It was excited and thought they were black rice. It flew down the tree and pecked at the ants with its mouth. An ant could no longer bear it and said angrily, "Don't you know I'm a male? You kiss me so hard that my black face is almost red." 6. The ant and the elephant are getting married. The elephant discussed with the ant, "Should we not hold a wedding banquet?" The ant asked, "Why?" The elephant looked at the guest list in a thick book and said, "You have too many relatives." The ant snorted and said, "What's wrong with having too many relatives? All of our relatives combined can eat less than one of your relatives." 7. The ant and the snail chat together. The ant, "Brother Snail, you are so lucky. Your parents prepared a house for you when you were born. You don't have to work hard as a house slave." The snail burst into tears after hearing this. "But you don't know how hard I feel. Your sister-in-law and I have been married for 2 years and have never lived in the same house." The ant, 8. The ant fell in love with a spider. He wandered around the web all day. He accidentally fell into the web and was ecstatic. "Honey, I'm here." The spider was very happy and rushed forward to hug him and kiss him madly. "Honey, I love you too. I want to eat you into my mouth, put you in my stomach, and melt you into my blood." 9. The ant, "There are too many college students. It's hard to find a good job. Let's just do physical work like carrying rice." 10. The ant said to the elephant, "I love you." The elephant was so excited that he gasped and shouted to the sky, "I am the happiest elephant in the world." The elephant wanted to hug the ant excitedly, but found that the ant had disappeared. 10 years later, the aging elephant saw a familiar figure with a cane. It turned out to be the ant. The ant said, "You blew me away with your breath. I came back to tell you that we are not a good match." 11. The little ant announced her love news in front of the whole family. "My boyfriend is the tall and strong male elephant." After she finished speaking, the room was silent. After a full minute, the father ant can be heard stammering, "My goodness, today's society does emphasize freedom of love, but even if we have freedom, we can't throw away our lives." 12. The ant advises the centipede, "If you get rid of the extra legs, you will walk faster." The centipede replies, "I would also like to streamline the army and government, but look at my legs, each one of them has a great origin." 13. A black bear is defecating in the bushes, and a large group of ants pass by. The ants were crushed by the falling black bear poop. They were puzzled. There was no wind or rain, but this mudslide came too suddenly. 14. The little ant asked, "Why do we have to work all day and work hard all our lives?" The mother ant replied, "This is our fate. Because we grow up in an ant society with a feudal dynasty system. The spring breeze of democracy and freedom has not yet blown to our ant kingdom." 15. The ant said to the elephant ant, "Raise your feet quickly. You step on a person, did you know?" The elephant said, "I'm so sorry, can you tell me which foot you stepped on?" 16. The ant and the monkey talked. The monkey asked, "Why are you ants known as strong men?" The ant said, "Because we have small arms and big butts." The monkey asked, "I also have small arms and a big butt, why can't I?" The ant said, "My butt is for weightlifting, and your butt is for farting. The function is different." Chapter 119, Foreign Invasion. Less than a month after the Red Ant Kingdom's palace was attacked by woodpeckers, news of the massive invasion of the U-monkey ants came from the border town of the Red Ant Kingdom. It turned out that the U-monkey ants began to appear in this area about 500 years ago. At first, there were only a few scout ants who came to explore the way. Because of their short stature, they did not attract everyone's attention. Then groups of U-monkey ants followed one after another, carrying their eggs and food. They spent the first night under the big pine tree. The next morning, almost half of the U-monkey ants were eaten by aardvarks and other anteaters. The survivors fled to the southeast and built camp nests to live next to the black ant tribe. At that time, the Red Ant Empire thought, "This is a matter between the black ants and the U-monkey ants, and it has nothing to do with us." Some even thought that it was not good to let these thin U-monkey ants be bullied by the strong black ants. While we stood aside and watched. But the U-monkey ants were not killed. They worked hard every day to carry branches and small insects of the order Coleoptera. On the contrary, the strong black ants are becoming less and less. We still don't quite understand what happened. According to the red ant spies, the U-monkey ants have occupied the entire black ant's nest. We actually laughed at the black ants and said that they deserved it. Besides, how could such a small ant scare the powerful red ants? After the black ants, the U-monkey ants conquered the beehive on the rose tree. Then the only remaining white termite nest in the south, and finally even the yellow ant nest with poisonous needles surrendered to the U-monkey ants. According to the refugees who fled to join the red ants' foreign legion, the U-monkey ants' fighting strategy is very powerful. For example, they extract venom from some rare flowers and mix it into the reservoir to pollute the water source, so as to spread the virus, so as to achieve the sinister purpose of eliminating other ants and strengthening themselves. However, Everyone did not take it seriously until the fall of Shooty City last year, when they finally realized what a terrible enemy they were facing. The Red Ant Army made a fatal mistake, which was to underestimate the U-monkey ants. Similarly, the U-monkey ants also underestimated the strength of the Red Ant Army. Although Shooty City is not big, it is still the territory of the Red Ant Empire. The day after the U-monkey ants celebrated their victory, 180 teams of soldier ants, each with 1,200 members, woke them up from their sleep with great fanfare. Although the success or failure was immediately clear, it took the Red Ant Army a whole day to recapture Shooty City because of the tenacious resistance of the U-monkey ants. Only then did we know that the U-monkey ants had placed not one, but 150 queens in Shooty City. This is really jaw-dropping. The captured U-monkey ant queen told us their history and customs, an extremely strange story. A long time ago, the U-monkey ants lived in another country, thousands of miles away from here. The forest scenery of that country is very different from that of the Red Ant Federation. It belongs to the subtropical region. There were large, bright, sweet fruits, and no winter, so they didn't have to hibernate. In this paradise, the monkey ants built the city-state of Saigon. The city itself has an ancient history, built entirely around a kiwi fruit plant. Unfortunately, it didn't last long. About 800 years ago, the kiwi fruit plant was uprooted by humans and placed in a wooden box with the surrounding soil. The monkey ants tried to escape, but the wooden box was placed in a large, hard structure. The monkey ants climbed to the edge of the structure, but one by one they fell into the water. The water was salty and vast. Many of the monkey ants tried to swim back to their ancestral land, but unfortunately they were destroyed. Most of the monkey ants decided to give up and find a way to survive in this large structure, surrounded by salt water. In this way, many days passed in a flash. With the help of their special organs, the monkey ants found themselves traveling at a very fast speed over unimaginable long distances. They passed through hundreds of geomagnetic barriers. Where on earth was this thing going to take them? They were unloaded here with the kiwis. No mistake, one post, one content, one 6 to 9 book, one forum. They discovered this world, full of exotic animals and plants. They were very disappointed with a new environment far away from their hometown. The fruits, flowers and insects were much smaller and not as colorful. The Vietnamese monkey ants left the familiar tropical rainforest and came to the unfamiliar temperate region. The world also changed color in their eyes. There was also the raging of heavy snow and cold wind in winter. The Vietnamese monkey ants first came up with various ways to keep warm. The two most effective methods were to apply sugar on their bodies and the sticky liquid secreted by snails. In terms of sugar production, they collected fructose from strawberries, mangoes, watermelons, grapes and cherries. As for oil, they launched a comprehensive campaign to exterminate local snails. In addition, they have some very bizarre behaviors. The reproductive class has no wings, so there is no mating flight. Female ants mate and lay eggs underground in the city. Each U-monkey ant state has not only one fertile female ant, but hundreds of them. It's amazing. This custom brings them important advantages. In addition to a much higher birth rate than red ants, they are also less likely to be exterminated than red ants. Because as long as the queen is killed, the red ant state is like being beheaded. As long as there is still a fertile citizen alive in the U-monkey ant city-state, the city-state can be revived. U-monkey ants also have a different set of logical thinking when it comes to conquering territories. Red ants take the opportunity of mating flights to fly as far as possible, and only after landing on the ground will they form an alliance with a federation to form a large empire. U-monkey ants are different. They use their central city-state as a benchmark and expand outward step by step. Even the short stature of U-monkey ants is a trump card. With only a small amount of calories, they can maintain a rapid mental response and have a certain degree of mobility. Chapter 120, Fierce Battle, Part 1. We can measure the speed at which the monkey ants react to heavy rain. While the red ants were busy driving away aphids and moving ants away from the disaster area, the monkey ants had already prepared a nest in the hollow of the trunk of a large pine tree a few hours ago, and placed all their treasures in it in preparation for a rainy day. The commander-in-chief of the Red Ant Kingdom, Cordyceps sinensis, remembered the experience he had encountered in the past. When fighting against the northern termites, one sunny day, the scout ants reported to him that a group of 18 soldier ants were not destroyed, but could not move. This made the Red Ant army terrified. Because the termites had gained a major lead in war technology, everyone generally believed that we could never defeat the termites again. The Red Ant Kingdom sent spies to investigate and found that the termites had indeed just completed a kind of artillery that could spray glue, called termite glue artillery. This artillery can fire glue from a distance of more than half a meter to fix the mouth and feet of the enemy soldier ants. After months of research, the Red Ant Army finally found a way to resist, using dead leaves as shields to move forward, thus performing a famous Dead Leaves War, and finally the Red Ant Army won a great victory. But the current enemy, the monkey ants, are more powerful than the white termites in the past. Not only are they huge in number, but they are also flexible and cunning in combat. There is only one way to deal with such a powerful enemy, that is, to invent a secret weapon that is both effective and terrifying. The Red Ant Army once invented weapons such as formic acid, dead leaf shields, glue traps, and iron bull chariots. But now it is spring, not summer yet, and the iron bull has not been born yet. What to do? The only way is to invent a new and powerful weapon, a weapon that can unexpectedly defeat the monkey ants. The Red Ant Kingdom happened to have a large number of foreign legions, composed of a special race of ants, called bone-crushing ants. They are characterized by a particularly large head and a long and sharp mouth, which can bite hard insect bones, such as the leg bones of grasshoppers, locusts and mantises, and the back shells of ladybugs. Their performance in the war was not outstanding because their legs were too short and their bodies were too heavy. Why go to all the trouble of dragging them to the battlefield when they are useless? So the Red Ant Army arranged for them to do some housework, such as chewing up husks and insect bones, cutting branches and the like. Planton, a senior military expert of the Red Ant Kingdom, believed that there must be a way to turn these clumsy guys into brave warriors on the battlefield. All they need is 4 nimble worker ants to carry them. In this way, the bone-crushing ants use the smell to command the living feet below them to run towards the enemy and bite them into several pieces with their long mouths. Several soldier ants covered with syrup were practicing on the flat ground, and 4 worker ants lifted the bone-crushing ants and ran quickly with a coordinated pace. It seems that everything is going very smoothly. In this way, the Red Ant Army invented a new chariot, the meat-crushing tank. Although it is not as good as the iron ox chariot, it is still completely possible to respond to emergencies in the current situation. Something is better than nothing. At dawn, the monkey ants surrounding Baguio City were ready to go. The red ants trapped in the tree stump were hungry and tired and seemed to be unable to hold out for much longer. The monkey ants launched wave after wave of fierce attacks. After 2 fierce formic acid bombardments, the monkey ants captured 2 more intersections. The treetops rotted under the bombardment and kept spitting out the bodies of the trapped soldier ants. The last few red ants had run out of ammunition and reinforcements. The monkey ants pressed forward step by step. The artillery ants ambushed on the ceiling of the cave entrance were helpless and panicked. They were not far from the royal family. Dandelion, the queen of the Red Ant Army in the secret room in the cave, saw that the situation was hopeless and began to slow down her heart rate. But the frontline fighters of the monkey ants who were charging forward suddenly received a warning signal. Something happened outside, so they were ordered to go out the same way they came. The hills that controlled the entrance and exit of the city-state fortress were covered with blooming azaleas, and thousands of red ants were hidden under the swaying flowers. The Red Ant Army finally decided to launch an attack. It's bad luck for them. The monkey ants sent small fly communication mercenaries to inform the central city-state. Each small fly carried the same olfactory information: they are sending troops. Send troops to support the outflanking from the right wing. Prepare to use secret weapons. The first ray of sunlight that broke through the clouds accelerated the enemy's decision to launch an attack. At 8 o'clock in the morning, the Red Ant Army was like a tiger descending from the mountain, sweeping across the plains with great momentum, turning through the grass and jumping over gravel. No mistake, 1 sentence, 1 post, 1 content, 1 6, 1 9, 1 book, 1 bar, 1 look. Millions of soldiers, each with their mouths wide open, with amazing momentum. However, the monkey ants were not afraid at all, as they had expected this move. Last night, they dug a plum blossom-shaped trench at intervals to ambush secretly, with only their large jaws extended and their bodies protected by the soil. The monkey ants' carefully planned defense line immediately crushed the Red Ant Army's offensive. Facing the enemy with only their sharp mouths exposed, the Red Ant Army felt exhausted and helpless. They were completely unable to cut off the legs of the monkey ants or chop open their stomachs. At this time, The elite troops of monkey plague Chicken City, under the cover of golden poisonous mushrooms, were lying in ambush not far away, preparing to counterattack from the side. Even if the Red Ant army had 1,000,000 troops, it would not be able to save the defeat, because the monkey plague Chicken City had tens of millions of troops. Each Red Ant had to deal with at least 5 monkey ants, not to mention the monkey ants hiding in the small earth trenches. As long as they approached the range of the monkey ants' big mouths in the earth trenches, any part of the body of the Red Ant army soldier ant might be immediately cut off. Soon, the situation reversed, and the monkey ants pouring out from all directions were unstoppable. The Red Ant army camp was immediately in chaos, panicked, and crowded. At around 9 o'clock in the morning, the Red Ant army was almost fighting and retreating, and had no power to resist. The monkey ants began to release the ant smell of victory. Their previous deployment was successful, and there was no need to use secret weapons at all. They chased after the Red Ants who had lost their armor and weapons, and all thought that the battle for Gao City was already won. But the monkey ants' legs were too short, and they had to run at least 10 steps for the Red Ants to leap. Chapter 121, Fierce Battle, Part 2. By the time the monkey ants reached the Azalea Hill, they were already out of breath, falling right into the Red Ant army's trap of luring the enemy deep into their territory. The main task of the first batch of Red Ant soldiers was to lead the monkey ants out of the trenches to the slope for a decisive battle. The Red Ant soldiers climbed up the hill, and the monkey ants chased them in a crowded and chaotic manner. A row of thorn bushes suddenly appeared on the top of the hill, and the big mouths of the bone-crushing ants waved and glittered in the sun, and then they bit the monkey ants in unison. The bone-crushing ants bit the monkey ants to pieces. The sudden surprise attack had an amazing effect. The monkey ants were panicked, and their antennae were stiff from fear. They looked like lawns that had just been mowed. The bone-crushing ants took advantage of the enemy's extreme panic and beat the enemy to pulp. The 4 sedan-carrying ants under each bone-crushing ant were excited and worked together. They were the track wheels of the chariot, and through the strict synchronization instructions of the antennae, the tires and axles worked perfectly. Each worker ant has 6 legs, so this monster with 24 legs and 2 large jaws can run rampant in the enemy camp. The Vietnamese monkey ants have no time to take a closer look at the hundreds of huge monsters rushing towards them. Those specially developed large jaws sneak into the enemy army and chew for a while, then raise their mouth full of bloody severed heads and limbs, just like biting off wheat straw. The enemy panicked to the extreme. The panicked Vietnamese monkey ants pushed and trampled on each other, and even killed each other in panic. The tank brigade of the Red Ant army took the opportunity to sweep the infantry of the Vietnamese monkey ants, dealing a heavy blow to the enemy's arrogance. Retreat. Stop the pursuit. The tanks climbed back up the slope, and the team was still in a neat and uniform formation, preparing for the next wave of attacks. The remaining Vietnamese monkey ants wanted to seize the initiative, but the second wave of tank clusters of the Red Ant army appeared on the top of the mountain, and they were coming down the slope. 2 waves of tanks crossed in parallel, and corpses piled up in front of each tank. This was a bloody massacre for the monkey ants. The residents of Gao City, who were watching the battle from a distance, all ran out to cheer for their brothers and sisters. From the initial panic, they turned into ecstasy and burst into the breath of joy. Our tank invention was successful and we won. It seems that the ants of the Red Ant Empire have exerted their unprecedented intelligence. However, the enemy Gao City has a trump card yet to play. They also have a secret weapon. Originally, this weapon was designed to force the stubborn resistance to surrender. Now, in order to cope with the current situation that has taken a sharp turn for the worse, the monkey ants have decided to go all out. In fact, the so-called secret weapon looks like a rainbow ant head with a bacterial bomb pierced by a brown plant in the middle. A few days ago, the monkey ants found the body of an expedition member of the Red Ant Kingdom. Its body was compressed by the spores of the parasitic fungus too nasty and burst. After analysis, the monkey ant researchers found that this poisonous fungus would produce a kind of spores floating in the air, which would stick to and corrode the carapace, and finally penetrate the body to cause the carapace to burst, so they named this poisonous fungus spore too hateful. What a powerful weapon! This poisonous fungus too hateful spore is indeed too hateful and too scary. However, the monkey ants do not hate too hateful, because although the spores will adhere to the carapace of the red ants, they do not pose a threat to the monkey ants. Because these cold-fearing guys are used to covering their bodies with snail lubricating mucus, The spores have no attachment points, it's that simple. This snail mucus has the function of preventing and isolating poisonous fungus spores. Although the Red Ant country invented tanks, the enemy Zitao City also invented the bacterial warfare too hateful. The entire battalion of monkey ant infantry held up 300 infected red ant heads, all of which were trophies collected after the first battle with Gao City. They threw their heads into the enemy team, and the spores of the poisonous fungus spread. Once the poisonous fungus particles stuck to them, the bone-crushing ants and the sedan-carrying worker ants sneezed desperately. When the red ants saw that their shells were pierced by the too annoying poisonous fungus, they were immediately terrified and at a loss. The worker ants dropped the heavy burden on their shoulders, and the bone-crushing ants immediately revealed their inconvenience and movement. They also began to be suspicious and even blamed other bone-crushing ants and violently attacked them. The first batch of tanks of the Red Ant Army was almost wiped out. At about 10 o'clock in the morning, a very cold chill suddenly fell, separating the two sides in full swing. Neither the enemy nor us could fight in the biting cold wind of early spring. The monkey ants took the opportunity to call off the battle, while the red ants' tanks climbed back to the slope with difficulty. No mistakes in the poem, the content. The red ants have already recognized the two nasty spores of the toxins. After thinking about it, they decided to sacrifice the soldiers infected by the toxins to avoid suffering and dying. The spy reported at the speed of a 100-meter sprint, "There is a way to resist bacterial attacks, apply snail mucus." The strategic experts of the red ants believe that tanks cannot be relied on alone to attack. The new battle formation is planned, with tanks as the center, plus the existing 130 infantry regiments and 54 legionnaires on the flanks. The red ants have regained their morale. The Battle of Azalea is still going on, and the outcome is still undecided. At this moment, the monkey ant-plagued Chicken City decided to send reinforcements. The 250 Legion Rearguard set out to meet the survivors of the first wave of battles. The surviving ants explained the tank tactics to them. They communicate through their antennae, and there must be a way to deal with these strange things. After a while, Worker Ant A waved its antennae and suggested, "The smoothness of the bone-crushing ant's movements depends entirely on the sedan chair carriers below it. We just need to cut off its movable legs." Worker Ant B also waved its antennae and said, "This thing's weakness is that it can't turn around quickly. We can take advantage of this shortcoming. We just need to form a dense square matrix, and when it attacks, we spread out to let it pass unhindered. Then, while it can't stop its momentum, we attack it from behind so that it doesn't have time to turn around." Chapter 122, Fierce Battle, Part 2. Worker C waved his antennae and said, "We clearly saw that the key to the coordinated steps is the antennae transmitting instructions, so we just need to cut off the antennae of the bone-crushing ants. In this way, they can no longer command the sedan bearers below." All the suggestions were accepted, and the monkey ants made a new battle plan. At noon, the war started again. A long row of closely arranged monkey ants slowly climbed up the Azalea Hill to launch an offensive. The Red Ant Army tanks appeared among the flowers, and at a command, they rushed down the slope. The Red Ant Army and their foreign mercenaries were eager to try on both sides, ready to clean up the mess left by these behemoths at any time. The two teams were only 100 centimeters apart, 50, 20, 10 centimeters. The bone-crushing ants had just started to fight in close combat, and something unexpected happened. The monkey ants' originally tightly arranged team suddenly dispersed, becoming large points and lines, and the monkey ants changed their formation to a square matrix. Each tank opened its eyes wide and watched the opponent disappear, leaving only an empty aisle in front of them. The bone-crushing ants were immediately confused. Their big mouths pounced forward into nothingness, and their 24 legs moved foolishly. A sour smell spread, cut off their legs. The monkey ants immediately crawled under the tanks to kill the sedan bearers. Then they quickly evacuated to avoid being crushed by the falling bone crusher ants. Other monkey ants rushed into the gap between the two rows of sedan bearers under the bone crusher ants without hesitation and bit open the defenseless stomachs of the bone crusher ants. Liquid flowed out, and the life fountain of the bone crusher ants poured onto the earth. Other monkey ants climbed along the huge bodies of the bone crusher ants, cut off their antennae and fled. Tanks fell one after another, and the bone crusher ants that had lost their sedan bearers dragged their bodies like long-term bedridden patients and were easily eliminated. What a scary battlefield scene. The bone crusher ants with their stomachs torn and intestines flowing out were carried by the 4 worker ant sedan bearers under them and wandered aimlessly. The sedan bearers didn't know what happened. The bone-crushing ants, with their antennae chopped off, could only watch their wheels run in different directions, tearing them apart. The complete annihilation of the bone-crushing ants sounded the death knell for the invention of this tank. What a great invention! It has since disappeared from the annals of ant history, because the defensive measures were discovered too early. The Red Ant Army and foreign mercenaries charging on both sides of the tank suddenly lost their support. The main purpose of placing them on the flanks was to clean up the remains of the enemy army, and now they can only fight desperately. The U-monkey ants, who were in a square formation, gathered again to massacre the bone-crushing ants. As soon as the Red Ant Army touched the edge of the formation, they were immediately sucked in, and hundreds of greedy mouths immediately tore them apart. The Red Ants and mercenaries could only fight and retreat, retreating all the way. They regrouped on the high hill and watched the U-monkey ants slowly climb up to attack, and the formation remained unchanged in a square. A terrifying picture. In order to cover the retreat of the Red Ant Army and buy time, the sturdy red soldier ants loosened the stones and pushed them down from the hill. The rubble collapse did not slow down the monkey ants. They carefully bypassed a blocked passage and immediately restored their formation. Few monkey ants were crushed to death, and the large group of monkey ants continued to advance. The red ants racked their brains to find a way to escape. Several soldiers suggested returning to the ancient fighting techniques. They asked, why not just use artillery fire, since the confrontation between the two armies, formic acid bombs have not been of much use, because in the melee, they are likely to hit our troops by mistake. But facing the densely arranged monkey ants in a square, the effect of artillery fire will be quite amazing. The artillerymen quickly set up their formations, protruding their abdomens forward, rotating from left to right and from top to bottom, and choosing the best aiming angle. At this time, the monkey ants directly below the artillery saw thousands of abdomens lined up on the top of the hill, and they still couldn't figure out what was going on. Instead, they gathered their strength and courage to sprint towards the last few centimeters of the slope. Charge! Line up! A crisp command came from the Red Ant Army camp. Fire! The protruding belly sprayed boiling venom at the square team of the U-monkey ants. There was a sound of puff, puff, puff. The yellow juice like a rain curtain whizzed through the air and hit the vanguard of the enemy army in the first line. The first to melt were the antennae, and the solution flowed on the head. Then the venom spread on the carapace, and the carapace was quickly corroded and liquefied. No mistake. The poisoned U-monkey ant soldiers fell to the ground, forming a low roadblock to trip the U-monkey ants. The U-monkey ant army reorganized, and rushed to the hilltop more bravely. On the hilltop, another row of red ant artillery had replaced the previous team. Fire! The square team was in disarray, but the U-monkey ants continued to move forward in an unyielding manner, stepping on the limp corpses. The third row of artillery went into battle. The glue gunners joined the joint attack. Fire! This time, the square formation of the Vietnamese monkey ants broke apart in one fell swoop, and the entire group was trapped in a puddle of glue. The Vietnamese monkey ants tried to change to an artillery formation to counterattack, but the artillery advancing from the lower hill could not aim and fired randomly. Firing against the slope, they could not keep their bodies steady. Fire! The Vietnamese monkey ants shouted. However, their short stomachs only shed a few drops of formic acid. Even if they hit the target, the acid they fired could only scratch it lightly and could not penetrate the armor at all. Fire! The Red Ant Army shouted. The formic acid fired by the two armies brushed against each other sideways and sometimes collided with each other. In view of the ineffectiveness of the bombardment, the Vietnamese monkey ants gave up the bombardment and instead wanted to win with a dense matrix strategy of the infantry team. Line up! Fire! Seeing this, the Red Ant Army, whose artillery tactics continued to be successful, immediately fired another batch of formic acid bombs and glue at the Vietnamese monkey ants. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123 Final Victory. Despite the fierce artillery fire, the tenacious monkey ants finally climbed to the top of the Azalea Hill, their silhouettes forming a black belt, and the flames of revenge were burning. Attack, anger, destruction. From then on, both sides no longer needed any secret weapons. The Red Ant Army artillery could no longer hold their bellies to fire, and the square monkey ant army could not maintain a dense formation. A large group of chaotic monkey ants rushed up to engage in hand-to-hand combat with the Red Ant Army infantry, who were ready to fight at any time. In an instant, the position was in chaos. The enemy and us attacked each other, pushed and pulled, turned, fled, charged, dispersed, gathered, jumped, fell to the ground, shouted, sprayed and supported each other, forming a spectacular war symphony. Everywhere was a scene of life and death, glaring at each other, fighting, shells colliding, running wildly on the bodies of living ants, like trampling corpses. Each red ant had at least 3 angry monkey ants hanging on its body, but the red ants were 3 times longer than them. Thus, the confrontation between the enemy and us was evenly matched, all bare-knuckle fighting. Smells screamed, and the ants' antennae, which were equipped with small arrows, waved in the air, forcing the enemy to keep their distance. Their clawed feet pounded as if they were hitting an annoying weed, kicking, panicking, and fighting back. The swarm of ants grabbed at the mouths, eyes, antennae, heads, chests, stomachs, feet, knees, elbows, cracks in the shell, grooves in the armor, etc. Millions of serrated beaks, like steel, like sharp blades, flat drills, single-edged or double-edged, covered with poisonous saliva, glue or blood, biting tightly. The ground shook, and the bitter smell of ant corpses spread like a cloud. Then, the shaking bodies rolled on the wet ground. Many of the monkey ants even climbed up the azaleas and used the rebound force to throw themselves at the red ants with open claws to attack the other party. In a hand-to-hand fight, the mandibles bit the smooth carapace. A red ant wielded its antennae flexibly, like a pair of spears, and moved as fast as the wind. It had already pierced the heads of more than a dozen enemies, and had no time to clean the spear stained with colorless and transparent blood. There was no doubt that this was a real hand-to-hand fight to the death. Soon, there were so many severed antennae and legs everywhere that it felt like walking on a ground covered with pine needles. The remaining residents of Bagao City also bravely joined the melee, as if the number of casualties was not enough. A red ant was afraid of the human wave tactics of the monkey ants, so in a hurry, it bent its body and stretched its abdomen, sprayed formic acid, and died together with the enemy. Both sides melted like wax. A little further away, another soldier ant opened its mouth and bit off the opponent's head in one go, and the opponent also pulled off its head at the same time. This might work when facing a single enemy. But what should I do when I encounter 5 enemies at once? One of them was fiercely attacking its chest joints, while the other coveted its left hind leg. It inserted its antennae like a needle into the neck of a monkey ant, and at the same time opened its mouth to knock the other ant unconscious, allowing it to escape the enemy ant's entanglement. At this time, the monkey ant was in the center of the battlefield, throwing out more than a dozen heads infected with a annoying toxin. Because both sides of the fierce battle were protected by snail fluid, the annoying toxin landed on the shell and then fell to the ground, useless. To be honest, this is not a good time for new weapons to come out, and both sides have come up with countermeasures. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the battle boiled to its highest point. The smell of oleic acid emitted when the ant corpses dried up was already filled in the air. An hour later, the red ants and monkey ants, who at least had 2 legs, were still struggling to stand up and fighting under the azalea with commendable perseverance. The one-on-one fight lasted until 5 p.m. when it was forced to stop because of a storm forecast, announcing the coming of heavy rain. If it wasn't for the late arrival of the March rain, it was because God couldn't stand this bloody slaughter. The survivors and the wounded fled back to their own barracks. According to statistics, the number of dead ants on both sides of the war totaled 6 million, of which 4.5 million were Vietnamese monkey ants, 3 times that of red ants, and the loss was heavy. No mistake, 1 post, 1 content, 1 6, 1 9, 1 book, 1 bar, 1 look. Bagao City was finally liberated and gained freedom. Looking far away, the earth was full of dismembered debris, perforated shells, and even some horrible bodies that were still alive. Transparent blood flowed everywhere like colorless transparent paint, and puddles of yellow turbid formic acid were everywhere. A few Vietnamese monkey ants were still trapped in the sticky mud, and they struggled hard to return to the embrace of their own city-state. But before the raindrops fell, some birds flew over and took them away. Lightning illuminated the gray clouds, reflecting the shells of the bone-crushing ant tanks. Their long beaks still stood proudly, and their dark beaks seemed to pierce the sky. All the city-states under the Red Ant Empire Federation were now presenting a lively scene of celebrating victory. With the end of the war, The federations affected by the war began a vigorous post-war reconstruction and recovery of vitality. After research, the Federal Empire Command finally adopted Princess Ling Xiao's suggestion, and the Commander-in-Chief Dongcheng Xiaokao personally approved the issuance of the first post-war order, strictly require the garrisons of the affected federations to immediately collect lime and spread lime on a large scale at various corpse burial sites in the war area to prevent the outbreak of epidemics. The federal governments and garrisons of each empire must strictly follow and implement it without error. This order is almost exactly the same as what humans do after wars and major disasters, because Princess Ling Xiao has a human brain. This is not surprising, and it also helped the post-war reconstruction of the Red Ant Empire Federation a lot, avoiding the outbreak of plague on a large scale. All work in the Red Ant Empire slowly returned to normal. The empire's military also paid more attention to the development of secret weapons, and planned to collect and train insect iron bulls into tanks in large quantities in early summer, with a number reaching at least 1,000. Chapter 124, Planning for the Spring. 2 flowers bloom, each with its own beauty. Let's talk about Hong Xiao's story again. Time flies. Another spring has come. At the beginning of spring, Hong Xiao's New Year goal, in addition to expanding her strength, has a more important task, which is to occupy a strategic location that is easy to defend and difficult to attack as her base. The bloody lesson in Xiafang Mountain Village last autumn always reminds her that without a stable rear area, there is no hope of final victory. Therefore, she decided to take the establishment of a stable base as the top priority. When the ice and snow just melted, she sent more than a dozen scouts to the nearby mountainous areas within a radius of 200 miles to inquire about good places. It has been found that there are 2 places to choose from. One is a mountain called Liaoyiling with an altitude of 900 meters and a dangerous terrain 85 miles away in the southwest. The mountain is occupied by a group of about 100 wolves. Secondly, about 160 miles to the northwest, there is a mountain called Eagle's Beak Peak with an altitude of 1,300 meters and a more rugged terrain. There are at least 200 wild dogs on the mountain, and their leader is called Wo Tao. After comparing the 2 and carefully weighing, Hong Xiao believes that attacking Eagle's Beak Peak is more likely. In order to capture this strategic fortress, Hong Xiao made full preparations. She ordered her men to make a lot of fruit wine, and raided a wild boar forest with only 30 or 40 wild boars shortly after the beginning of spring. And all these wild boars were killed and roasted golden and shiny, making people salivate. In addition, some other barbecued foods such as chickens, ducks, geese, rabbits, etc. were prepared. The remaining question is who to send as bait and insider. She selected the beautiful second child Teoho to lead a task force as the vanguard and insider, and it is better to light the fire at 3 o'clock in the night. At noon, the spring was bright and sunny. A group of brides and gifts were sent to the Yingzifang village with music and drums. When they arrived at the foot of the mountain, they were stopped by the guards guarding the gate. A small leader came out and asked, "What are you doing? Are you annoyed by the music and drums all the way?" A fox came over and said, "Sir, this is the village called Yingzifang." This fox was Kuiban Liu, who was specially sent by Hong Xiao to perform. "Yes. What's the matter?" the small leader asked in confusion. "We are the wedding team. Look, we have brought your king's wife and some good wine and food." Then, Kuiban Liu said to the team behind, "Brothers, bring all the good things here for this lord to take a look." After a while, the small leader saw the pretty young wife and a lot of crispy and greasy food, and his mouth was watering. He thought, "Oh, if only I were the king." Although he had some thoughts, he did not dare to delay the important matter, so he said, "You wait here first, I will go up and inform my king." "Wait a minute," Kuiban Liu suddenly stopped him and asked, "What's the name of your king?" "It's Wo Tao." "Is there any problem? Isn't it called Jian Tao? When did it change to Wo Tao?" "You are the Jian Tao. Your whole family is a Jian Tao." "When did our king become Jian Tao?" "He has always been called Wo Tao. Since your king is not called Jian Tao, I think we may have come to the wrong place." "Brothers, go home, we may have sent him to the wrong place." "Wait. Hey, wait a minute." Seeing that the fat meat that was about to be in his mouth was about to be gone, the little leader was anxious. He thought, if I let this fat duck that came to my door run away and the king knew about it, he would have to skin me alive. Why don't I just trick them and lead them directly up the mountain? So, the little leader said quickly, "Hey, this is it, I just remembered it. My king seemed to be called Jian Datao in the past, because he was often deceived, so he was called Jian Datao. But later he was deceived so badly that he had no pants to wear and could only eat steamed buns. In the end, he had to change to steamed buns. No mistakes in the poem, the content, the book, and the forum. Since you are my king's wedding team, I will lead you directly up the mountain, so that's the case. Why didn't you tell us earlier? The fast board said. We thought we were sent to the wrong place and made a wasted trip. Hey. It's all my fault for my bad memory. I made you misunderstand, the little leader said. How about you climb up the mountain slowly, and I will go up first to inform my king. This is the rule of our village, and I dare not disobey. It's okay. Then you go and inform first, the fast board said. Do remember to tell your king that we are here to send a bride to Jian Datao. Unexpectedly, there is only one way up the mountain, and it is very difficult to walk, with cliffs on one side and steep cliffs on the other. It is really one man guarding the pass is impossible for 10,000 men to break through. Kuibanliu thought that as long as we capture this strategic fortress that is easy to defend and difficult to attack, even if tens of thousands of enemy troops attacked, we would be safe. Haha. Kuibanliu climbed slowly, and when they climbed to the gate of the mountain village, which was about 1,000 meters above sea level, the sun was about to set. About an hour ago, the mountain stronghold king Wowo Tao was playing with his dog-headed military advisor Bad Idea while chewing on a moldy and smelly bone. The little leader ran up to them breathlessly and said, King, good news. A silly old man has brought you delicious food and a beautiful woman. The mountain stronghold king was overjoyed and asked, who is it? There is such a good thing? Isn't this pie in the sky? The little leader said, I don't know too much. But it said it was for some sucker. At first, I said that my king was called Wowo Tao and not sucker, but it wanted to take the things back when it heard it. Later, I was afraid that the duck in its hands would fly away. So, I deliberately lied to him and said that my king was called sucker before, and later changed his name to Wowo Tao. Now, they are following me up the mountain. Chapter 125, Gift Delivery. The stronghold king Wowo Tao said happily, you did the right thing. I want to reward you. If I push such a good thing away, wouldn't I be a fool? Hey. That's not right. Why did they give the big gift to the sucker but not to me, Wowo Tao? What's going on? Have you asked it? The little leader said. I ran up to report the news as soon as I was happy, and I didn't have time to ask about this. The stronghold king asked the dog-headed military advisor, what do you think is going on? The dog-headed military advisor thought for a while and said, the former owner of our stronghold was a kind and helpful person, and he didn't have any scheming. It is very likely that he was deceived and treated as a sucker. Otherwise, how could this stronghold fall into our hands now? I guess the person who gave the gift must have received benefits from the former owner before, and this time he came to repay the favor. The village king asked anxiously, what should we do then? We can't just return this gift, can we? The dog-headed military advisor said with a bad idea. Are we that stupid? This is easy to handle. King, just pretend to be a sucker for once. Whatever they say is true. Anyway, we won't lose a pound of weight, nor will our reputation be ruined. After you get married and everyone has drunk the wedding wine, we will tell them the truth. It will be too late for them to regret it. How about this? The village king said. The military advisor is the military advisor, much better than us. It seems that this time it will definitely not be a bad idea. The dog-headed military advisor said. Tisk, when have I ever given a bad idea? It's just that there are some accidents that even gods can't predict. I call myself bad idea because I am a low-key person who knows how to behave, unlike some people who like to brag and boast about themselves, the village king said. Military advisor. Why do I feel that you are bragging about yourself in disguise? The two were talking excitedly when suddenly a guard at the mountain stronghold gate ran in and reported, my king, the wedding procession is coming and will soon reach the mountain stronghold gate. The mountain stronghold king said excitedly, let's go. Let's go to the gate to greet them together. At this time, Ibn Liu and his group of fox friends had already arrived at the mountain stronghold gate. He saw a group of people, wild dogs, coming out of the mountain stronghold and knew that it was the mountain stronghold king who came out to greet them. He hurriedly said to the wedding procession, the mountain king is here to greet us, everyone hurry up and play. Then, the festive sound of Suona rang out again. It seems that there is still a lack of firecrackers. Of course, there will be no firecrackers at all. Otherwise, Wouldn't they become real humans? The so-called sound of suona is actually made of bamboo leaves, and the foxes who are smart and know a little about music put them on their mouths and play them. Seeing a majestic big dog leading a group of dogs coming out, Kuibanliu hurriedly nodded and said, "Congratulations, my king. Congratulations, my king. Good luck to my king. This is my grandfather's second daughter, who he specially ordered me to bring to you as your wife in order to repay you for saving his life. These gifts, including all of us, are dowry. Are you satisfied, seeing this shy and beautiful second young lady? So many delicious foods and more than 30 fox friends." The king of the village was overjoyed and said, "Satisfied, satisfied, very satisfied. Please come into the village, today we are all family." A fox asked Wo Tao, "My king, do you light lamp oil in your village at night?" The king of the village said, "What is lamp oil?" "We have to go around in the dark at night." The fox said, "When the lamp oil is turned on, the room will be bright, just like daytime, and we can see things. This lamp oil is usually made of lard, beef tallow and duck fat." The king of the village said, "You know how to do this new thing? Then light them all for me tonight. Tonight is my big day, I have to enjoy it. Haha." Soon, the foxes lit the oil lamps with flint in the big caves of the village. The lights were bright, presenting a festive atmosphere. Kuibanliu took out more than 20 roasted wild boars, more than a dozen roasted chickens and ducks, and more than 10 jars of fragrant fruit wine, which made the big and small leaders of the village salivate. At the same time, Kuibanliu also prepared a special program for the brothers in the village, playing Kuiban, singing Kuiban songs. No mistakes, one song, one post, one content, one book, one bar, one six, one book, one bar, one look. At the wedding banquet of the king of the village, the fox Kuibanliu played Kuiban and sang the Kuiban song he created, playing Kuiban, drinking a big bowl of wine. Drinking a lot makes the thief bold, dare to challenge the tiger when he meets it. If you drink too much, you will get drunk. You will walk in a mess. Everything in front of you is in pairs. If you see a fox, you will want to kneel down. Magpies in the sky are in pairs, and mandarin ducks on the ground love each other for a lifetime. Fox friends and dog friends also understand love, and they will meet each other if they are destined to do so. Beat the clappers, shake up your spirits and shout, "We are all brothers and sisters, it is not too late to gather in the village today." Then, it beats the children's clappers, big dragonfly, green eyes, a pair of bright eyes, fly, stop, fly around to catch mosquitoes and flies. The little ducks are all yellow, with flat mouths and red feet. They shout loudly and sway down the pond. The little crab is too proud, running around and making a fuss, scaring away fish and knocking down shrimps, and has no manners at all. The little spider pulls silver threads and weaves the web back and forth. Why do you weave the web so hard? It eats flies and mosquitoes. The little white rabbit is white, with 2 ears standing up, loves to eat radishes and green vegetables, and is so cute when jumping around. The rooster is so beautiful, with a bright red crown and a flowery coat, a shiny neck and red claws, and all the hens love it. The chicks chirp, they love to eat bugs and have diarrhea, their little mouths and feet are so cute, making everyone smile. The ducklings quack, with flat mouths and big feet. At a young age, they go to the pond and can paddle and catch shrimps. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.